#1 Iron Age Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. What's going on, everyone? How is everybody doing? Just so everybody knows, no, you are not mistaken. We do have a guest this evening, however. The guest has a day job and will not be here for another hour. And that was one of the reasons that we haven't been able to book him before. But we told him, like, hey, you know what? We've had people bounce on us early, so why not have somebody come in a little bit late? Like, I don't know, same thing to me, right? Like, I don't know. My brain doesn't work properly. Hey, how's everybody doing? Oh my good God, it's Friday. We made it. I made
Thank
it.
Goodness.
Tuesday, I almost didn't make it. That was a rough day. Yeah, that was this weekend. Oh my God, last weekend was a fun time. Way too much beer drinking. Way too much beer. You have to have that buffer day of healing before you just go back to work. I skipped that day. Oh God. I didn't feel normal until this morning. Anyway, that's enough about me. What do you say? We say hello to the chat. We say hello to our fantastic co-hosts, and then the spirit of our guest who will be here. Maybe not. Maybe he ditches us because he's got a hot date. That would be the smart decision. But maybe he shows up, and in that spirit, we're going to talk about some tabletop RPGs, some fun card games that we've played growing up, and just kind of reminisce about that. And we will have plenty of time to talk with the chat in the top of the show because, well, it's just kind of a round table at this point. So I'd love to get you guys in on the conversation. So do that thing over on Rumble Chat. Sorry, I'm very tired. And I've been watching this barbecue guy on YouTube a lot lately, trying to make sure. Well, no, like I came across this channel because I'm looking up videos how to build a freaking barbecue pit, like a smoker. He's got really, really good videos, and then he does a lot of recipes. And I feel like my mannerisms are like gonna match his because I love his videos. He's freaking fun. Anyway,
I can guess what his hairstyle is.
No, it is not.
I'm
it's
kidding.
Not even close. It's not even. Yeah, no.
I think no,
nobody rocks the 70s like shaggy hair anymore, man. Like the last time people saw this
was me in high school. You've got the high school me hairdo right now.
I have the high school me hairdo.
Kind of reminds me of my younger brother.
Oh God. Well, there you go. John A. Douglas over on Rumble says, "Congrats on 200 Rumble followers, Royce." Oh snap! Hey. We got
That's a big one. Very good.
That's cool. I didn't realize that. I've been way too busy lately. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know, John A. Douglas. That's fantastic. Lieutenant Bob, also known on YouTube as King Bob.
King
He's over
Bob.
there as well. He says, he says, got waifus on Rumble too. He says, trying my best Daniel impression, although my glass is almost empty.
I'll drink to that.
There you go. Frequency Studios over on Rumble as well. And for everybody who loves having a fun time, you guys, if Rumble's more your speed, go check it out over there, right? Yeah. Not telling you to go over there. I'm just saying if you guys like that a little bit better than the YouTube, so you can go over there. YouTube probably punishes me for saying that, but you know what? You know what? YouTube punishes everybody unless you do like makeup tutorials or something. It's weird. Chatsu just got over there as well. Over here on the YouTube side, Raven Nevermore jumped in early. Said, all hail the fellowship. Absolutely, man. I will say this. I do like that Nerdrotic kind of coined that. It's a homey term. It is. It's very. Maji Chen, hello. How are you? King Bob, double dipping. What's going on? Swift Sword Rush, how are you doing, man? Heavily Music, what's going on? 10 Cage, how are you? We've got Horizon Talker down there as well. And there we go. Oxen W, what's going on? Ricky Rat Comics, man, how are you doing? JVP Music, what's going on? Guilty Gearhead,
JVP.
Derek Baird. Oh my goodness, Lord, you guys are chatting up a storm. The Ultimate Kahuna comes in for $1.99 and says day drinking. LOL. You guys have inspired me. Ow. Just ow. But yes. The day was drunk for 4 days. It was insane.
And you can tell by Royce's appearance.
I was gonna say,
am I still looking out of it? Well, that might also have to do with the fact that I was running an angle grinder not like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I had to jump in the shower and shower up, and this is the wig when I don't brush it back. I was just like, I'll let it just kind of do its thing. It'll air dry instead of, which it normally air dries, but usually it's all like pulled. Anyway, enough about how I really just let the wig do what it wants to do. Redoubt Productions, what's going on, man? How are you? Oh God, it jumped. Oh God. I hate it when it jumps down like that. That's a very no, stay above the table. Anyway, Frederick Greenmont, how are you doing, good sir? Stormcrow, what's going on? McCoppin, how are you doing? Roy's doing the 90s Tom Cruise look. It is the 90s Tom Cruise look, isn't
That's
it?
True.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I forgot he had the shaggy hair for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Every so often, like I think that's like Tom Cruise's like favorite hair though, because like when you see him in between movie shoots, it's always long and shaggy.
Yep.
So yes, Devaney Wilson, how are you doing? Hello, what's going on? Trying to catch everybody. MI2 Tom Cruise. I didn't like Mission Impossible 2. Really. I think like the first one was, I didn't like 2 and 3. And then all of a sudden, like they just made magic happen after those two. 1 was good. 2 and 3 I didn't like, but everything about 4 and on, I'm just like, how? Okay, you guys figured something out. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to pass the frantic, over-the-top talking to someone else that's not me, that's also not half dead, whose liver is probably mostly still intact. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who beats upon the anvil, bringing fantastic works and stories to the world by basically letting other people write them, and then he just shouts them out, similar to what I do, but different. Richard, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Finally got the first issue of Anvil to the printer. It's not like printing right now, but it is in their hands. We're going through it and everything else, which is later than what I wanted to get it done, but it's still on schedule for what I told everybody.
Good.
I was like, I'm gonna get it done in June for sure, and it'll be like July 1st. Everybody will have it, and I'm like, yeah. I'm glad that I didn't let my hubris totally take control there. But we've got that going on. So that has been a major thing. I need to send out some emails for the second issue because I was like, I'll get back with you, and I need to get back with Daniel about some things. But it's been the last just normal stuff for the second issue. It's just like everything kind of got bumped because it was like the last, like, putting the polish on that first issue has been time consuming.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
got 2 projects going on at once now.
Yeah, and that's not counting the website. So
See. Yeah.
Hey,
that's-
just with Anvil, because issue number 1 was still getting worked out, and we've already started issue 2.
yes, I am so excited
double the
about
workload.
the second issue going. Not because I'm not excited about the first issue, but just because I've made a couple changes to the content for the second issue that I think will result in a lot less difficulty in getting it this final bit. That's really the part that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna chop that.
Just gotta get over the peak now.
Yep.
Yeah, over the top.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that last 10%.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Good, man. Good. That's awesome. I'm glad to see it. Can't wait to get mine. I am also very glad that I was not expecting it on July 1st. Knowing you and knowing the struggles that you've had, I still would have given you absolute amount of crap in our private chat, which probably would have made him leave the show, to be perfectly honest, because he's pretty stressed out, guys. He's been like, he almost has to wear a wig like I do. He's been pulling all of his natural locks out of his head.
It's the beard is fake. I pull the beard out first.
The beard is fake.
Yeah, he just keeps pulling the hair out of his head and attaching it to his chin.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good Lord. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to also introduce my other fantastic co-host, the man who loves to take your stories from your head, put them on a plate, and serve them to people in book form. Don't be weird. This isn't that kind of show. Ladies and gentlemen.
Much better than AI can.
Right. Yeah, now. Yeah, remember when everybody said self-checkouts? I'll always go to the real cashiers don't even know how to run the machines anymore. I'll go to a self-checkout. Thank
or
you.
give proper change.
Yeah, no, I'll go to self-checkout. Like
counting, math.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Certainly not from our education system.
What is number?
What do number do? Right. Yeah, absolutely. Daniel P. Riley, how are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing good.
Good. That was wow. I'm gonna stop hyping you up. I feel so sad in my soul. I'm like trying to be like fun, entertaining, a little bit jovial, a little bit sarcastic, trying not to show the bruises that the chat leaves on me every week. And you're just like, yeah, fuck you.
I did it just to watch your soul die a little bit.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'll give a brief look, but been doing a lot of client work. We're on the last week of my Fund My Comic book signing, so 7 days left if you want to get in on that. It has passed my initial $500 goal, which is pretty nice. And moving along, I got a new commission piece from the artist who made that poster piece for the t-shirts. That looks pretty amazing. It's Gabriel versus Michael. It's been all over my Twitter.
That's cool.
Yep. And just working on trying to make Richard's life a little bit easier as far as Anvil is concerned, where I can.
Yeah, it helps if I respond to the questions you have, though. And
it does. It does tend to help.
No, that's a myth.
I was like, this is we're in triage mode here. We're doing what we have to do first, and then worrying about all the rest later.
Yep.
So, but we're out of triage mode now, hopefully. So,
but what I could get done while he was busy running around like a chicken with his head cut off, that's what I've been trying to do to make the second issue a little more breezy.
Good. Well, I am glad to see that it's all coming together because, well, honestly, there's a lot of enthusiasm around that. And that was something that was so out of left field for a lot of people. People are like, wait a minute. Yeah, we remember these magazines from back in the day where you could go and you could see what was new and what was happening in the world from like the authors, not from these trash rags on the internet. And I think that that was definitely a really really good, just awesome campaign.
Well, I'm just glad that everything is, I've had some difficulties with, quotes being backed out of on the prints and the posters, and that's finally done with. It's what we're in the home stretch on those, so I'm just glad everything's coming together, because it was like a little bit of a pain. And actually, getting something physical, I think is I don't know, a lot of people, there not a lot, but there were a number of people who complained about not having a digital tier, and I understand that, but I wanted to do physical first just to make sure we could do it, because man, I saw some uh, different, there's these relatively mainstream professional looking magazines out there, and they'll say, oh, hey, get this. And I'm like, is there a place to buy the physical copy? And they're like, oh yeah, just go to the website. And it's like, the website just there is no physical copy to this thing. You know what I mean? I think even sometimes the people who work on these magazines don't realize that everything is just going to a digital format. And it's that's fine, but it's kind of it's harder to have that permanent.
Dude, with the digital book burning that's been going on in the last 5 years, you can't not have a physical thing, because the problem is you're going to get you're going to start getting a lot of the Mandela effect. People are like, no, I remember the story read this different way, and nobody's going to have the copy to prove it. And then that little file that they pull up on their, well, no, I downloaded the PDF. It's like, dude, yeah, of course they can change it. But you're going to start getting a lot of that. Now, that's why I was physical. And I know some people just don't have the scratch to pull off physical, but yeah, dude, I'm glad that you went the physical route instead of, I would almost say, just don't do digital. I know.
Oh, I'm going to do digital mainly because I understand the needs of the international market. You know what I mean? When I first launched, I was thinking to myself, well, I'll just do physical, and everything else, it'll be fine. And then, people were justifiably coming to me looking, being like, listen, we don't want to pay, in some cases it's like $20 for shipping, or $25 for shipping in some cases. Yeah, and even $35 if they got some of the bigger stuff that required a larger box. International shipping has really gone up.
It has.
And
if there's a way to just do digital for the overseas people,
there's I don't know. At a certain point in time, I'm not going to try and worry about it too much. Not at this juncture.
I gotcha.
But it's one of those things where I was, I wasn't really fully appreciating the needs of the market, where people justifiably are like, yeah, well, I'd love to have physical, but I'm not,
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
That's a big ask.
It's like, yeah, dude. It's like, I don't want to pay $75 for a magazine just to be real.
Yeah, I'm gonna more than double the price of the magazine with shipping. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's why
Let me catch one really quickly. Ultimate Kahuna for $1.99 says, "What is a Hebrew's favorite kind of nut? Cashew."
Come on, Kahuna, man.
Is that
he paid money for me to read that? I just, that's a thing.
Come on,
that
Kahuna,
kind of works
man.
in never mind.
Because no.
No comment.
I was saying.
Why do I have a feeling I know exactly where the hell that was going?
Yeah, before we get too far into the realm of wrong.
Anyway.
Oh god, that's so great.
After the conversation we had with Piper and Eric about campaign crowdfunding and things like that, I think digital as a standard for sort of an in-demand version that you could just sell and shop makes sense, but for a backer, physical copies are the way to go. That's why I was so on board with you wanting to start with physical for the crowdfund.
Yeah, well, and I think the other thing is that, I guess since we don't have a guest, I'll just feel free to ramble a little bit. But for the second issue,
I was going to talk about tabletop and my
I know, right?
Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't know.
Sorry.
I had a plan.
You had a
how
plan.
The fuck are you guys ruining the plan? That's whoa.
Chaos. That's
no. Back that train up. Well, you guys are always the planned ones.
Yeah.
What's
so
happening?
Now we're pulling the switcheroo here. But yeah, for the second issue, the primary campaign is going to be on Fund My Comic. So it's not going to probably be until mid-July sometime, because I don't want to start the second campaign until the first issue is totally fulfilled. Everything has gone out. And maybe people, some people might not have it in hand yet, just due to shipping times and everything else. But I do not want to have any packages waiting on me unless it's, a customer issue where they haven't correctly filled out something, or you know what I mean, and I'm having to wait for them.
Yeah, screw you, customers.
Screw you, customers. But you problem customers, you good customers, I like you. Everybody who causes me problems.
Boy, that sounds like a racism or a prejudicism or a
anyway, we're gonna keep on moving. But I am going to launch like a cleanup campaign on Indiegogo and Kickstarter after the second issue is fully funded. And then after that, I'm just going to go to subscriptions primarily. And I might do like special add-ons and things like that to fund my comic. But I really want to start thinking about this as a,
wow, the day and age of the magazine subscription. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
holy crap.
I mean, it's a lot easier for me to say at the beginning of the year, all right, I have this many, if I have 50 subscribers, you know what I mean? And we get that money right up front. And then I'm able to say, okay, well, that is a fixed amount. This is 4 issues that we're selling at that amount. It gives me a lot more ability to plan things out and make sure that everything is, moving right along. It also lets me, I'm going to try and set up some contracts so that we have stuff coming in throughout 2024, so that it's a little bit like the fiction will probably still be on a rolling basis. I always want to have a rolling window, submission window of some kind, just so that people aren't having to wait a year to, okay, well, this is the time of year, go. And if they miss it for some reason, it's the end of the world. But, I think that the main thing there is just making sure that we have a promise that we can promise a certain amount of content at the beginning of the year and then hit that. And then whenever 2025 rolls around, assuming everything goes well, then we can promise another level of content based off of our existing stuff, so it's like, hopefully we're going to be doing things right, which is my goal with all of this, is something sustainable, sustainable for me to do, but sustainable for the artists and the authors and everybody else who's involved, the editors and the designer. I want us to all to be happy that we're working on this at the end of the day.
Oh, people are.
Yeah, I was going to say, Machi Chan, the plan would be that you buy an annual subscription. If there's like a monthly payment plan, I don't even think I would want to have that as an option, just because when you're like getting monthly payments, but then doing a quarterly subscription, if if issue number 3 comes out in January and then you pay for January, February, but you cancel in March, then I wouldn't pay for the March subscription. You know what I'm saying?
The other thing,
I wouldn't send it. You know what I mean? Other thing, like, I'd be taking money and I'd need to refund you if I wanted to be ethical, or I could just keep it if I wasn't concerned.
I'd totally keep it. Fuck them bastards.
I don't know. I just really feel super good about that. So I'm probably going to do.
Well, but here's the other thing too, is especially with what Fund My Comic is doing, with attempting to do a distribution model that's, for smaller floppies, 32 pages and under.
Mhm.
Honestly, and I'm not sure I have no idea how many pages the first Anvil is.
I think it's 114 on the
Okay.
Enchanted.
But I mean, right there, you network with a guy to where people who can't get on the ground floor, who've read the stuff, like you could take that and break it up into 3.5 issues.
Yeah,
And you could put a part 1, put a part 2, and work with him. And so people could still get that, but they're not going to get that first original like copy that we're going to get. But that is something that could possibly get into the market in a different way in the future.
Yeah, and I have thought about the idea of moving to a monthly subscription with 30 with floppies, basically, instead of the perfect binding. To me, though, it's kind of like, I don't know. I worry about that formulation, because people tend to buy comics for serialized stories largely, right? And then they buy anthologies for like a collection of short stories, and there's usually more. This would be like, for that to work, there would be two short stories in one comic, and so there's a lot of with Anvil as it is now. I think that it's almost guaranteed that there will be something that you really like in there, and a couple of other things that you enjoy, and then maybe there's one thing that you like. It just doesn't do it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
whenever you start slicing the content down, then you could get an issue where like literally nothing really did it for you. You know what I mean? That's where I kind of go. And then you have like, now you're shipping, even though your production costs are lower, you have higher shipping costs and all these other things. But anyway, I see people in chat talking about IronCon 2025.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna need to I'm gonna need to have a fat 50 stacks to probably pull that off.
Just hear me out. Just hear me out.
Right.
We rent a
Barbecue.
parking lot.
Oh, parking lot.
And we do a tailgate. We do
a
a tailgate.
Not, I'm not even opposed to that at all.
I'm building a 120-gallon smoker. I need to cook for somebody.
We'll have you as a
backyard,
vendor for sure. We'll get you the vendor license. Everything else you can extort people for money. You can charge them $35 for a rib and a handful of baked beans.
No, you show up. We have brisket. We've got ribs. We've got the
$80
community.
I'm just messing with you.
Or actually, you know what would be?
I do want to
better?
have barbecue as like some of the vendors there.
Yeah, what we could do is we could try to find, it'd be like a one day, I don't know, maybe a weekend thing. Try to find like a campground where there's a lot of them in my area. People like, dude, there's a ton of them in my area. People park their RVs there like all years. Like some people live there. I don't know, but we could find a campground that, people could come. We camp for the weekend. We have a good time. We're barbecuing. We're, fishing, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not because get fishing licenses, but I don't know.
There is something that has popped into my mind, which was when I was stuck in a meeting, and so I decided to make a productive use of my time and look on my phone at convention centers in the kind of the big city triangle of Texas, which is Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, and Houston. And there's a place called New Braunfels, which I don't know if you guys know about it.
No,
but there is a water park there that is built on top of the Spring River, which is an underground river that comes up, and so it's cool all year round. And there's a place called Schlitterbahn, and it's like 2 miles. So I don't know. Part of me is like, we could do one day, because the convention center would probably be like, at the end of the day, probably $5 or $6 grand to rent it out for a day. And then we could do that, so we could have like the Friday drinking at Schlitterbahn, because everybody there's lots of beer there, and
just gonna get massively hammered on an Iron
yeah,
Age
exactly.
nights.
We should probably do
Iron
it
Age
after
Drunk Fest,
after the IronCon. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Okay, that would be really fun, man. That would be really there's a lot of ideas.
There needs to be some planning for sure, because if we have the Schlitterbahn day beforehand, everybody is going to be like crawling around, like hungover and sunburned.
During. I don't do water parks though, so like,
You don't have to. You just sit in an inner tube and get drunk.
I don't do that. I don't do the water things.
What is wrong with you?
No. Actually, no. There's a reason for that. It's inner ear issues. I get if I go in the water at all, I get immediate ear infections. It kind of sucks. So, yeah, inner ear issues.
Not willing to make sacrifices. That's all I hear.
I told you I would bring a smoker and cook all you bastards food. Do not start with me.
Being a wussy.
That's all I want to do is cook the food. That's like, and like if I do it right, it's like a 24-hour ordeal
that you'll be drinking through.
Oh yeah. That's not even. Yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Absolutely a thing. But you know, it's fine. It's fine.
Me too.
Me too. Oh God. No, I am. No, I'm serious about like the Iron Age barbecue thing. I want to make that happen. Whether it's just a small group of people that we can kind of all get together and hang out for a weekend. I'm serious about that. Just something small to see if like how just organizing that would go. So it gives us three just kind of like we can dip our toe, you know, and it's just a barbecue. Like I've hosted many barbecues. I have like 40 people at my house.
Iron Con in Royce's backyard.
There you go.
We could, although we would probably have to cap that as well. There's a lot of campgrounds around, and actually the convention center here in town. I'd have to look at the prices for just like a day. It's a really small town though. There's nothing to do out here, so nobody would find it like fun because it's a small town. But no, that would be more of like a quaint get together with some people that are probably really close by and just meet. Like, I don't know, like a lot of the people in my Guilded are in the Midwest and they're not very far away. And again, all the campgrounds around, you pick a nice time of year, you pitch a tent out in the campgrounds or bring your RV or whatever. And then we do the barbecue. Like it would be just a small, simple thing. I tried selling people on it and everybody's just like, yeah. I'm like, wow.
People like air conditioning.
Yeah. It's because you're all a bunch of pussies. The Ultimate Kahuna for $4.99 says,
won't sit in an inner tube.
What did an impotent Simba say to Nala? Oh God, can you feel the love tonight? Lord, forgive me.
How much have you had to drink, Kahuna?
I don't know, dude. He's about ready to reach Kikomon levels here, man. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh man. See, James Esparza, he's like, I'd go. It sounds fun. See, yeah, no. No, predominantly because I miss having big barbecues for people. We don't know like a ton of people in the area. And like I used to like cook for 20 people at a time. Like it was great. And I got a property set up for it. It'd be great. As far as like the Iron Con, like doing a convention, I think personally, like we call it Iron Con, but I like realistically, it would be like meetup. It should be meetup level.
Iron Con's the totally.
I don't know. I mean, I'm genuinely going to look at doing a convention if it's in the cards. And I mean, it might not be called Iron Con,
public sort of thing. Yes,
but it's one of those things where I see the standard for conventions and it's so low. You know what I mean? I understand the staffing. There's staffing problems and everything else to be handled and so on and so forth, but. I sort of feel like there's a space in the market, and if it continues to grow, then we might do it. And there's a number of creators in the region that make me kind of want to do it within this area, aside from just the fact that if I was doing it, I'd need to probably spend a week of my life there.
Yeah, but it's also Texas.
Yeah, I know. It's Texas.
I hate Texas.
I know.
It'll take me half a week to get there.
Yeah.
I hate Texas. No, predominantly my biggest issue with Texas is outside of there are reasons. Well, remember all that stuff we were talking about last night on the stream? There's a lot of reasons you really don't want to. Texas ain't so freedom friendly.
Yeah, not always. That's for sure.
Yeah. So no, but that's why. And it's just, well, and not only that, but
what I was gonna say, that is there more to the story? They have a warrant out for your arrest down here.
no.
You saying I can make a buck?
Right.
Have you come visit?
That'd be great. No warrants out for my
Richard,
arrest.
Iron Age
betrayal.
No,
bounty hunter.
the only thing good about Texas is they still have a sandwich shop called Schlotsky's down there, and Schlotsky's is amazing.
No, it's not.
Yes,
No.
it is. I grew up with it. My dad and I used to like work on cars all day, and then we go get a Schlotsky sandwich. So yeah, it's amazing.
You got some major nostalgia goggles. There, my
Yeah,
dear.
I don't care. It's amazing. Okay. Never mind the reasons for its amazingness. I never gave a qualifier. I said it's amazing. I didn't say it's amazing because it's like, no, it's just it's amazing. That's it. No qualifiers needed.
Good Luck Grill, Maynard, Texas.
No, and that's one thing I would actually like to get down there. Dude, if
I've not been overly impressed with the barbecue in Texas, generally speaking.
Good Luck Grill's more Cajun style stuff. They have some.
yeah.
I love.
They have
some
fried
Cajun,
catfish toes that I would have eaten every single day until I died.
Ironically enough, John A. Douglas says he's right next door in Louisiana. We could go to Louisiana, dude. We could get shrimp po' boys. We could get gumbo.
You're just thinking about Bourbon Street.
Black and catfish. I don't give a damn. Let's go.
I like how this suddenly turned into a IronCon brainstorming session. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I blame you for this.
We can talk about
time.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards if you want.
Well, no, just tabletop
just
RPGs.
don't get angry and toss them down this time.
No, that was bad. I went back. Oh my god, I watched that stream. I made so many mistakes. That was the
Traumatized
worst.
yourself.
I'm surprised you didn't put a railing up on that shelf.
No, trust me, it ain't coming out of the wall. Trust
No,
me.
I meant to make sure the tins don't fall down.
Trust me, it won't. Like
He super glued them shut for.
Yeah, I was expecting this.
No,
I was
no,
expecting to see
that would
like
ruin their
prison
collectability,
bars
sir.
across
I
the-
know.
Oh god, Chat says Royce, show me on the doll where Texas touched you.
Yeah.
Blacklist Universe. The
Texas
topic
in the
will
room with you
eventually
now?
be when our guest gets here. We'll be talking about his fantastic tabletop RPG creations. But he is late tonight because work, and that's understandable. And he let us know that like when we booked him. But what he is creating is really cool, and all of us were like, "Yeah, we're willing to work around your schedule to have."
And
Vincent
I've
on
talked
the
to
show.
Vincent before, and I mean, he's been doing this for quite a while with his stuff, and he's had a number of like a lot of crowdfunding campaigns and a lot of projects. So he's got a lot of different things to talk about, and I've been reaching out to him about advice on various things for quite a while now. So he's a good dude, and I know he has a new campaign. I don't know if it's launched yet, but it's coming up soon. So he'll have plenty to talk about.
No, well, and yeah, and I'm actually very excited. He sent me some behind the scenes stuff on some stuff. The guest will be here in a few. Herman P. Hunter. Yeah, a lot of people are like, yeah, where's the guest? Well, he'll be here. Never you mind. Don't get your knickers in a twist. Good Lord. No, he will be here, and I'm very excited to talk with him. Like I said, we knew coming into this he was going to be late. Said it at the top of the show he's going to be late. We knew this, but he's a good enough guy and creative enough person that it's going to be worth the wait. The Ultimate Kahuna for $4.99 says, remember Hawaiians only, but when you touch their kahunas. What the hell? Also, SSSR. Oh, God. Kikomon is well represented in Hawaii. I don't know how to say Yaholas. That's a Hawaiian thing. I don't know Hawaiian. Darkish Multiverse for $10 says, I suggest for a first-year convention, don't look for a convention center. People will come to a first-year convention around here. People go into debt on first-year cons, and there is no second year. That's a good.
Yeah, I would. Let's put it this way: I would make sure that there was a threshold that if I didn't, meet a certain expectation of success, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm going to make sure that I do not overextend, because there's plenty of small conventions. There's even some that are done in hotels. The thing that I kind of noticed about hotels is that some of them are just as expensive for you know, like a ballroom as having a convention center.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, I'd rather have a little bit more space with room to grow. Now, what the problem is probably with the convention centers is that they have a lot of hidden costs. You know, like you've got to pay for the you got to hire a security company, you got to hire a janitorial company, you got to do this, you got to do that. And a lot of these places, they have only you know, they will only allow you to like hire certain vendors. So, and it's like, oh, what do you know? The same people who own the convention center have a janitorial service and a security service and a table rental service, and those are the only approved vendors. And their prices are all, you know, like 3-4 times higher than what you could get in the open market. So you got to watch out for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Well, and like I said, that's why doing like the convention thing, I was like, I am more for a meetup style. You know, we find, you know, a barcade or something, because there are plenty of them down there. You find a barcade or something that's, you know, friendly to guys like us, because let's face it, we all have a certain political lean to us that a lot of play. But you find a bar that's friendly to guys like us, maybe wouldn't mind us, you know, renting out, because a lot of them will have like the large like party rooms that you can rent out for the night, and you just rent that out. You get good, you know, you rent that out. You say, hey, what restaurants do you work with? Can we have a restaurant that you guys work with? You know, cater for 30, 40 people max. You know, just, you know. Get it started and just see, because that's the thing is, it's like, you know, going with the convention style right off the bat would be really, really, really a big thing. And honestly, like, I'm down for just, you know, a weekend. You hang out with people, you walk around, you go, you know, you find a place to do the live show from on a Friday.
Yeah.
And just start small, because, and maybe that's something that we could look in, and that's kind of what I was more.
Well, I mean, that's why I say 2025. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's a good ways off. It's not something that I'm too concerned about. I like it whenever Daniel forgets that he's muted, because then we don't have to listen to him. There we go.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Well,
But,
we're
yeah,
talking
I mean,
about two separate things there, because a convention is totally different
Yes.
animal than a meetup. It's
Yes.
perfectly fine to do, you know, one or the other or both without trying to combine them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dicebag says, I heard you were talking about tabletop RPGs, so I tuned in. Yes, we will be talking about tabletop RPGs when our guest gets here. You're running a little late because the day job kept him busy. I wanted to talk tabletop RPGs, and then these guys started talking about a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's just where it goes.
I haven't played a tabletop RPG in over 10 years.
That's your problem, not mine. Yeah, so, Dicebag, I do appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, usually our guest arrives at the top of the show, but this guy has a lot of creativity and is putting in a lot of hard work and is pretty decent at what he's doing. And to a point that we wanted to make sure that we could get him on, even if we had to work around his time schedule a little bit, which I feel is totally fair. Maji Chin for $2 says, does that mean I get to have spicy food at IronCon? Yes, spicy food only. Anything less than ghost pepper. If you guys, that's the thing.
We'll
that's the door
food
threshold.
and then milk for the people who can't take it. There you go.
No milk. No milk.
Corn tortilla chips.
Yes, with salt. Corn tortilla chips with salt. Darkish Multiverse for $2. Iron Age meet and greet 2024. See, that could be a thing. Meet and greets. They're nice.
That's what I said. We can do both. We can do a meet and greet.
Yeah,
and then
that's 2024. So
yeah,
we'll meet and greet. And we'll we can do and then in 2025 will be so important that we'll charge everybody $25 to talk to us, like true convention style.
Exactly.
It is. I don't know. I mean, I knew that's how conventions were, but it still kind of boggles the mind how many people there are at these various conventions that are like, oh, this much for a I mean, I understand they're making money. That's how they do things. I don't blame them for it. I'm sort of like amazed that there's a sustained market for it. You know what I mean?
Royce wants to talk tabletop RPGs.
Oh yeah, sorry. Tabletop RPGs.
Yeah, God.
I like
a lot of the
like tables.
Yeah, right. No, a lot of what's sustained the convention market lately is they have definitely become celebrity fanfare, and it's a lot less now about like the property project IP that you're interested, and it's more about the celebrity fanfare.
Yeah,
and that they have very much changed.
I think it depends on the convention, but certainly all the mainstream, all the big ones have kind of gone that way. Like there's a few exceptions.
It's a retail atmosphere.
It is.
Supposed to
it
be
always
that.
has been, but now a lot of the celebrities, like, they got to pay to get these guys in, and it's, I don't know. Timo Burnham drops $2. That's it. Drops $2. Gets the hell out. It's like, no, you don't deserve words. Here's money. I'm like, thank you. Oh man, thank you, good sir.
He threw $2 at your head.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Like a stripper, I will take it in shame. In shame. The Ultimate Kahuna for $1.99 says, I would take my motorcycle and ride to a meetup. There you go. Wrangler, we can all have hot dogs. No, I don't put hot dogs on my grill. Those are absolutely not. Hot dogs are disgusting. No.
Bratwurst?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, my favorite thing to do is do a Chicago-style dog. You get the Polish dog, and then you cook the Polish dog, and then you turn it into a Chicago-style hot dog with all the seasonings and the salts, and then like the tomatoes, and then like the hot peppers. Oh, it's so good. I'm hungry.
Dog.
I didn't eat dinner. I'm sorry, guys. No. Yeah. So all right. One of the things, especially to try to turn the conversation to. When our guest gets here, obviously we'll be talking about tabletop RPGs and various different just tabletop games, card games, things like that, because that is what our guest is. That's what he does. That's what he likes to do. And he has a ton of different creations. And I would like to do this here before our guest even gets here, but I want to warm everybody up. So we're going to go over to vindicatedentertainment.com. And this is where you're going to go, and you're going to see what he is all about. You're going to see the enthusiasm that Vincent has behind his projects and everything that he's working on. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Inspired TTRPG. So as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan from when I was a kid, like I used to have the dual disc. I actually had a dual disc up until like 4 years ago. Not the original one I had when I was a kid, sadly. I got rid of that one, but then I got another one, and then I got rid of my second dual disc, and I kind of regret it. Anyway, but card games and being able to sit down with people, and anymore, there's a lot of online atmosphere with it. I do a tabletop RPG multiple Saturdays a month, where it's kind of based off of D&D 3.5, but it's actually written and put together by Black Knight, who does Star Shatter. He actually writes an entire science fiction series. Really, really fun. And one of the things that I think that, especially when you start getting into what is so different about card games and tabletop RPGs, is the personal interaction that you have with another human being, which is something that is kind of lost on today's world, and something that's really, really fun. Obviously, guys, check out all these different games here. There's the Black Paper Moon. There's the Guillotine card game, Otherworld's Core Rulebook. Where was the one that he did that I think James Craig bought? And it was very, very waifu heavy. Was that
Black Paper Moon?
Was that Black Paper Moon?
I believe so.
Was it Black Paper Moon? I cannot remember. But yes.
No. Or maybe it was Heartseeker.
Oh, it was Heartseeker. Yes, it was the card game. It was Heartseeker. Yes. But no, I mean, as you can see here, he's no slouch to this. He's putting in the work, and he's trying to bring new games and new There it is. There it is. We got to find the waifu game. Heartseeker right here. Yes. So this one here, Heartseeker. Craig was on the show and Craig was like, yep, already backed it, buying it. Don't even care. So yes, as you can see, like there, he does a very, very, very good job. And this was the trailer for it. I want to show this off because this is kind of really where I was more introduced to Vincent Baker. So let's get this playing. So that was one of the first things that I saw because he shared it on one of our Wednesday night streams, and I just loved the premise of it. And right here, this game really brings competition to the table with the zany cast of waifus to win over. The wrecking mechanic, really helps fuel the fire, and the design of the game makes it simple and fun to pick up, but complex enough to keep you coming back for more. 10 out of 10. No, and this is just one of many things that we're going to get into this evening. Obviously, there's all of these different card games here. There's all of the different RPGs that he's working on. There's the shop over here for a lot of the physical and digital media. There's merchandise, and all of this we will get when Vincent gets here. Like I said, he did have to go through the trials and tribulations of the day job, but you know what? It's going to be well worth the wait for when he gets here. So just so everybody knows, like, that's where we're at right now. We didn't like, oh, I mean, if he doesn't show up, he doesn't show up. Like, I got nothing over that. But as far as I know, he's going to show up. And I really, really hope a lot of what I'm told is he has card games for all ages. He's got card games, I think, for some more just like mature audiences, and not necessarily mature like adult, but just like mechanically. You know, there's a little bit more. And oh, hey, look at that. Hey, so we're gonna do this. Hey, what's going on? Vincent Baker. We were just talking about you.
Awesome. Well, hey, you don't have to talk about me anymore. I'm here.
Oh, Mike's here.
Hey, Mike's here too. Hi, Mike. How are you, kids?
Well,
Taking a break
there for like 10 minutes, you know, whatever.
Sorry, I was watching stuff.
Are you taking a break from jumping all over Malon's head?
I don't know what you mean, Daniel.
Oh, good Lord. And the shenanigans will ensue. So, ladies and gentlemen, now obviously we're doing this a little bit late in the show, but let's do it now. I would like to welcome our fantastic guy who pops in once in a while because, you know, he has nothing better to do at this particular time than be here. Mike, what's going on?
I'm drawing.
Oh.
I just finished Shadow the Conqueror's interior pages yesterday, so now I have to do a couple of covers.
Nice.
I saw that.
Work,
Congratulations.
Man. Good work.
125 pages.
Oof.
Good
work.
Yeah.
And now that we can
and yeah,
get...
I spent all my time dunking on John Malin. So yeah.
There you go. You go hard, dude. You just go hard.
Well,
I've been watching it.
He's a man baby, so
yeah, you're my favorite person to watch. Just like go after people on Twitter because you just go after everybody. You don't even care. You're just like, yeah, it's Twitter. I'm just here for the lulz.
It's got old school mosh mentality. You just jump in the pit and start swinging.
Yeah, I was in the punk scene back in the day. That's
Oh,
what
there
we
you
do.
go. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we do welcome to the show for the first time, and hopefully in the future as they have more releases. Ladies and gentlemen, an absolutely fantastic creative and our first tabletop RPG like solo creator. We've had other people who are working on tabletop RPGs in connection to the other worlds that they're creating with the comic books and with the novels that they're doing. We've never really had somebody dedicated just to the game and the gamesmanship and the gamers who love this stuff. And I am unbelievably excited. Vincent Baker, how are you doing?
Thank you. I am doing pretty good. I got out of my retail job, so it's I spent a lot of today talking to teenagers and 20-year-olds and helping them out all by myself at work. So it was, it was quite exhaustive, but I'm happy to be here. And I have to say, it was quite an out-of-body experience because as I was like closing up the store, I saw like the notification. I saw like my thumbnail like with a picture of me on there and stuff. It's like, yeah, live, interview with Vincent Baker. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Like it just felt so like separate, but like me. So it was a very interesting experience there.
That's awesome.
It reminded me of in high school, there was this name confusion where people said this guy died in a car accident, and they thought it was my name. So everyone thought that I had died. And so I was getting all these messages of people saying, like, please tell me you're okay, and like all this stuff. And people were posting like R.I.P. Vincent, like we love him. And it was such a weird experience because I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was in some like big elaborate prank or something, but I got to see sort of like how certain people would respond and act if that were to happen. So,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the guy died, but you got that experience of like, how do people really think of me?
Actually,
and thankfully that guy did not die. He survived it.
So. Bad double whammy.
That's good. Chatsu says R.I.P. Vincent. Yes, R.I.P.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, a moment of silence for Vincent. All right, Vincent, how you doing?
Hey, I'm back.
Well, good, man. Good. No, that's an interesting thing to have happen. A buddy of mine actually had that happen to him. Everybody thought he died in a motorcycle accident for obvious reasons. But that rumor went around for like 2 years. There were people that were like, wait, you're not dead? And he goes, no. I had people come up to me and like, yeah, man, I miss Bill. I'm like, yeah, no, dude, he's a good dude. And like, yeah, dude, I just remember all this time. It's like, oh yeah, he and I were talking about that the other night. And they're like, what do you mean he's dead? And I'm like, no, he's not.
It's like I have a friend who has been swearing that Jackie Chan is dead, and he's been swearing this for like 13 years.
Something happened to Richard.
Richard. I think there must be a power outage or a light bulb. I think a light bulb went out.
No, he posted in the private chat, power went out.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, everybody having issues this week. Well, Vincent, I'm going to start this off. As I always start off these conversations, and the primary question, how did you get into designing your own games, and where does your passion of the board game come from?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I would say I played a lot of old school games growing up. My dad gave us an Atari with the SNES. We played like the original Mario. I played it with my sister, and we fell in love with all these different fantasy worlds that we were playing. But, like, for example, with Mario, you see all these cool creatures, but you can't really, or at least at the time, you couldn't really explore it outside of that sort of like 2D level platforming type style. So I was just like, I want to be able to explore this. I want to be able to play with my family. So I basically created like a board game where you moved around and it had like role-playing elements where we acted out as the characters. We gained new items, and it felt like we were immersing ourselves more into that world. And that just sort of came naturally to me from there. And then the Pokemon TCG came over when I was around 7 years old. I dived into that. Then Yu-Gi-Oh came out not too long after. I started playing that a lot. And so, I got really into card games. I was playing different board games. I played tons of video games, which inspires what I do on the tabletop end. And then in high school, I sort of like accidentally ended up in an entrepreneurship class. I didn't elect to take it, but that's just sort of like what they forced me into. And I was like, I don't want an entrepreneurship class. That sounds lame. Like, because I was picturing like people like suits and ties, and I was very much like not that. At that time, I was a skateboarder. That's what I was all about. And I had this class, and
It's like
sorry, what was
young
that?
entrepreneurs or something like that, right?
What
There
about
was,
it?
what? Yeah. Well, they had a different thing there. What was ours? Ours was like entrepreneurs of the future was our, or like that, like the class that we
Yeah,
had.
it's like young entrepreneur something or other. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you had to go
Yeah.
and sell
So
like light holders or something.
Oh God.
yeah, so when I had that class, I just was like, okay, I called, like, I'm very much like a C student. I just cruised about. That was like my whole goal, is like, as long as I'm not failing my classes, I'm good. And in that class, I was like, I'm just going to sell candy. Like, candy's super easy to sell. Every kid would want some candy, sell it for $1 or whatever, you're good. And my teacher would allow students to do that, but she saw that I was an artist, I was a writer. She was like, Vincent, I'm not letting you sell candy because I can tell that you're a very creative person. And I feel like I'd be failing you as a teacher if I just let you get away with that. So if you choose candy as your business, it's an automatic flop. Like you're getting an F. And so she forced me to choose something different. And she said, go home, look around your room, see what it is that you enjoy doing, and then come back to me. And I told her, I was like, well, I came back the next day and I told her, I was like, well, I noticed that I make all these board games and card games, but I don't really know how to make that into a business. She's like, I don't care. We're going to figure it out. And she really helped me. Yeah.
Wow, a good teacher. Holy crap.
Yes, she was the best
They do
teacher I had
exist.
for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had a few good teachers, but she was the best one for sure. And even when I graduated, she teared up and she said it was because of students like me that is why she became a teacher. So we had that, and also I have to give a lot of thanks to my dad. My dad also loves making games. He's a gamer. He plays more games than I probably do in terms of video games. I think he's maxed out like his entire roster of World of Warcraft characters and then started over from scratch and then done that multiple times. So my dad also started me on Final Fantasy, and he also thought it'd be a good idea to teach me like basically show me like JRPGs, which had a lot of reading. And so it expanded my vocabulary and my ability to spell better and stuff like that. So huge thanks to my dad and that teacher, Miss Gray. They were both very awesome. So that's I think that answered your question.
No, that definitely answered the question for sure. God, there was a lot there. I don't, there's about 9 different things I could ask from that point. So, okay, so I'm going to do this one. I'll take this avenue. Probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. So you graduate, you're starting to develop your own games. Where does it go? Because you're doing conventions now, you're getting reviews now, obviously, and you still have the day job now, but you're still holding it down on
Richard's back,
with all this stuff. How does that work mechanically for you in life, just to pursue this? And it's a very different thing than just sitting down and writing a book and writing a novel. I mean, you've got to think of card designs, you've got to think of board designs, you've got to think of dice, you've got to think of mechanic. How do you so you graduate high school? Where do you go? What do you do? How are you being Vincent after that?
Yeah, well, for some reason, I don't know why, but like my natural gift, the thing I'm best at is just taking an idea or a theme and then figuring out how something creative works mechanically as a game. And I don't know where that comes from necessarily, but that's like the thing I feel best about. I can draw, I can write, I can do other things, but that is the number one thing I'm best at, is just figuring out how to tackle game mechanics based on a certain theme. After high school, I immediately went into college for like an art degree, but that didn't do much for. I learned way more doing my own business than doing the college stuff. But while I was in college, I kind of got sidetracked. I joined a band. I played bass. I did some backup vocals and had a good time playing shows in a metal band. And like I said, that sort of distracted me. And on the back end, I was developing Otherworlds, which is my tabletop RPG. And I didn't realize just how much work that was to do, though. And I think I essentially had to sacrifice a lot of my free time to go up to the game stores, go up to the conventions, and do nothing but run Otherworlds. And I had nothing to sell either, so I wasn't like recouping any investment into it. I was sinking in all the money I got for my birthday, from Christmas, and then money I eventually started making from my job. I sunk in like that money into Otherworlds. And like I said, I had no product for it. And that's eventually where my card game Spellslingers came from. Because I was thinking like, man, if I tell someone I'm a game designer, I tell them about other worlds, and they're like, cool, I want to play. It's like, all right, well, we got to figure out a time, we got to set up, and it, like to show off a tabletop RPG, there's a lot more time commitment than say a simple card game. So I was like, I need something fast, easy, portable, like shows my design skills, you know, etc. So that's when I designed Spellslingers, and I believe that was in December 2015 is when I designed it, and then I released it in 2017, and that was like my first sort of like notable game that people really saw from me. I still had other worlds going on, but Spellslingers really, I felt like having something physical and having cards like really sort of like felt like an extra step for some people where they could physically see what I was making. And so that was a big move for people, and they really liked that. And basically since 2017 is when I've been like full steam Vindicated.
That's fantastic. So, gentlemen, do you have any questions? Because I know what my next questions are, but I tend to get a little long-winded with my questions. So,
yeah, I get long-winded with my answers, so I'm trying to hold myself back a bit.
Well, you shouldn't though, because as everybody knows who watches this show, once we introduce the guest, it's your show, man. I appreciate it. The way that I say it to people, my job is not to sell Vindicated entertainment. That's your job.
Yeah, fair enough.
My job, as long as I think you're a cool dude, is to sell you. That's what I
appreciate it.
I want to introduce people who are starving for this stuff, who are nerds for these things. I mean, I obviously am. Like, my buddy and I still play freaking Yu-Gi-Oh to this day. Like, I mean, the decks are right. I'm not moving that. Stuff will fall. They're right there. Just trust me. The decks are right there. But no, and what is it?
It's a Gem Mint 10 Maneater Buck. My dad gave me this for Father's Day. He reversed me. He was like, "Here, son, have this," and I was like, "Okay, I'll take it."
Oh, should I do it? All right, here. I won't pull the Yu-Gi-Oh cards out, but I'll get another collection. No, the shelf will not die. No. Let's see if you remember that.
Awesome. Yes, so I have one of those as well.
There's two of them in here. The other one is my grandfather's. My grandfather took me to see the movie because I was the only kid who hadn't seen it, and my grandpa was like, "Yeah, let's go." So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I have 5 of the 6 original tins up here too. I have all 6 tins, but 5 of them I bought when I was a kid. All original cards. The limited edition holographics are all in sleeves. And if I pull it down right now, other things will fall. Not the shelf. The shelf will not fall, but other things that I have balanced.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can relate because I saved, like, my dad and I collected the entire first set of Yu-Gi-Oh! Legend of Blue Eyes, and I still have held on to the entire first set. So I have a lot of old cards that I've held on to.
No, I love it, man. I love, and there's. So how do you feel? How do you feel that, you know, the card game life is lately? Like, where do you feel that is? I feel like that when we were kids, as big as it was, I mean, it seems to just kind of have come and gone very quickly.
Yeah,
you see that as well, or no?
So there's kind of 2 different camps. We have card games, and then we have TCGs, which I think a lot of people, like, I didn't really realize it at the time when I started Vindicated, but people sort of separate like RPGs from war games to TCGs, from card games to board games. And it gets kind of hard for me to sort of speak on it because I sort of dabble in a lot of those areas, at the very least. But as far as card games go, I think we'll go with TCGs. We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff. I think TCGs are actually pretty popular. They released a Yu-Gi-Oh! Released Master Duel, and it hit like record-breaking numbers. They have tons of people playing that. It's like a video game version of their card game. They did have a lot of people fall off, though, because they realized the current game isn't near as fun as it used to be. So there's a lot of fall off, but there is a ton of people feeling that nostalgia. So they're releasing tons of figures and tons of merchandise in general. And so Yu-Gi-Oh! Is making a killing. Like, they're making a ton of money, even like, because I work at a pop culture store. So I see like what people are kind of like talking about culturally. And we get a lot of people that will buy packs of Yu-Gi-Oh! And say that they don't even play, but they just love looking at the cards. They love that nostalgia. They love buying the figures. Yeah, and we sell tons of Yu-Gi-Oh! Merchandise, even to people that don't play the game. And then, yeah, so Yeah, it's kind of wild. And then Pokemon, you know, selling off the shelves, it's hard to keep in stock. We had to limit Pokemon card packs to 3 per customer because we're selling like too fast, to where all like the older people would go in, buy all the packs, and then all the kids would come in and not have any. So we wanted to be sure that some kids could have card packs whenever they came into the store. So we had to limit the sales on those. Magic's in a weird spot because I think Magic the Gathering is like overall like a pretty well designed game, and I think from like a game perspective, they do a good job. But obviously, Wizards of the Coast fumbles a lot. And they do a lot of stupid things, and they even like had like tons of their cards like in a landfill and stuff. So,
Oh
and
yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
yeah, and honestly, like
they
we sell,
overprinted.
we sell every TCG like way equal to Magic. Like we've had, we sell Digimon better, we sell Dragon Ball Super better, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, of course. Like anything we get, like we sell way better than Magic. I actually we have like 13 other stores, and I was like, can I just give you guys these Magic cards? And they said, we don't want them, we can't sell them. So it's like, it's I mean, there's certain sets that sell well for Magic depending on what it is. Like I think this like Lord of the Rings set is probably going to sell pretty well for them, but because that one ring whole, you know,
Yeah.
thing, yeah. But in general, like they're making some mistakes, I think. But you know.
So, where does that all translate for your trading card games?
Yeah, so I don't have a trading card game released at the moment. I do have one I'm working on that's branded with Otherworlds. It's the Otherworlds TCG, so it kind of melds together our different universes and our characters. I'm very, very happy with it though, because what people don't really know is in the background, I've been developing a TCG and then just getting rid of it, making another one, getting rid of it, making another one. I've been doing that for like the last 10 years, and I just keep improving it. And in the last 10 years, I haven't made a TCG that I was mechanically fully happy with until just now. And so I've been developing that. Yeah. But there's a lot that goes into a TCG. Now, thankfully, there is an indie TCG community, and they seem to be pretty nice, pretty forgiving, like when it comes to understanding that you're not Wizards of the Coast, so you're not going to have the same release schedule, you're not going to have the same budget. So it seems like they just love that indie environment for TCGs, and I think that's pretty awesome. At the moment, I haven't fully ingratiated myself into that audience yet, but it seems like that TCG market is pretty good on the indie side as well.
Where is that community?
I've been noticing a lot on Instagram. I'm sure they do a lot with YouTube as well, but it seems like people that are kind of in their 20s, maybe early 30s, card games and stuff, they're on Instagram a lot.
Yeah, my son made a board game, sold it on Kickstarter. It's a really cool game, but he hasn't really done much with it since, other than continue to develop it.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. I should show you the whole commercial.
Tell us a little bit about the Otherworld. I want to hear about the RPG son.
Yeah. So Otherworlds, it's basically it started off as my like childhood imagination when we were running around like playing with sticks, pretending like they're swords, and running around with water guns and stuff. And I basically made up this whole sort of like RPG that me and my friends would play. And it just sort of evolved as I got older into what Otherworlds currently is. Essentially, you play as the role of an Otherworlder, where essentially there's this thing called the Awakening that's connected these different worlds as soon as this alien appeared that people don't know like where it's from. And with this connection, there's certain gates. There's these artifacts called Wanderers. Everything awakened and became active. So if you can find one of these relics, you can use it. You can become an Otherworlder, which is like a type of adventurer. You go to these different worlds and then figure out what's going on. You can choose to be the hero, the villain, sort of tackle it however you want to. And it really gives you a lot of customization on the back end on how you want to create your own character. It's meant to be like a fun game, just very, make the character that you want, pretty simple, but tactical. My favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy Tactics. So there's a lot of inspiration when it comes to sort of like how you set up and you can mix and match your moves and like put that together. But I'm also someone that hates like repetition, and I hate things that feel like they are slow or bogged down. So a lot of my game design choices are to make sure that there's not a lot of moments where people are just kind of sitting there like, oh man, this is like a drag. Like I just want this to hurry up. A lot of the design is to hopefully help push the game forward and just keep moving it forward to the point where a lot of people say that combat feels like shit hits the fan like immediately. So you get into it and then things happen immediately, and every choice matters. It's not like a lot of like, oh, you have 200 health, you take 5, you take 15, and it's like meat spongy. It's not like that at all. And then every single character in the game has access to sort of like a general list of things that they can pull off in combat, such as disarming their opponents or knocking them down, which change the way the combat plays out, because you can have it basically play like an action movie where, like, as things are happening, you can very much envision the cinematic elements to it whenever someone gets knocked down or they roll a certain way, and then you disarm them or whatever it may be. Hey, I see that Kikumon says Final Fantasy Tactics was amazing. Thank you. I'm glad we have a fan in the chat.
It's true.
So
I like the story more though.
I wanted to ask about the mechanics of the of other worlds. How have you, like, what have you done to speed up combat? Because that's one thing that I know is a common problem, or, well, not necessarily a problem, but it's something that a lot of people have criticized, is that it's like by the time you get done with the fight, it's you've spent 30 minutes to
a 5-minute battle
to
takes
telegraph.
2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll put it this way: we had we had like an 80 character battle that took, like, I think it was 3.5 hours, which 3.5 hours is a long time. But
Yeah.
you try to replicate an 80 character battle in something else, I mean, that's going to be a lot longer.
Days.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the longest battle we had. We wanted that to be like we had 4 like giant grid maps, and we had like
stress test.
yeah. Well, it was a fun time because we had one of them was like the sea, and we had the ships coming in, and then it was like sort of like a flank, and there's pirates and stuff. Anyways, to answer your question, there's a few things that make combat a bit faster. One is the scaling is lower on purpose, so the numbers, you don't start off at like 10 health and then go up to 200. The numbers are kept at a smaller restraint. So so the numbers that you roll, and like whenever that happens, like everything matters a bit more. And it's also a D6 system, so like your maximum health could be anywhere from like 12 to like 35, but you won't see anybody even at max level having more health than that, really. And so it's not like other games where it just keeps scaling exponentially, and then you're just trying to like whittle that down. Like you're playing a video game and you see their health bar like this, and you just like slowly whittling it down. That doesn't really happen because of the way it's set up, and it's very much intentional to like keep the numbers that way. Another thing is that there's exploding dice. So not only do you roll multiple dice, you roll 2 dice most of the time. If you roll a 6 on those dice, you keep rolling dice, which I understand if some people don't like it because it adds like a random element to it. But one thing it also does is it assures that if something were to sort of get clogged in the pipes and kind of stall things a bit, sooner or later, someone's dice are going to explode and push that moment forward. So if you were hitting back and forth where there's like a moment where maybe it's a bad matchup and like you guys aren't doing anything to each other, eventually like you're going to knock that guy down, you're going to disarm him, and that puts him at a serious disadvantage, which will not only change the game from a story perspective, but also will change it from a combat perspective and also help finish out that combat sooner. So that's one way. Also, the dice are all rolled together. So the attack dice and the damage dice is rolled into one dice roll. So you don't have to worry about doing 2 separate rolls for that. And what else is there? I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting, but there's at least.
Well, I think that by itself is like a big factor, because I think that, well, sometimes the amount of bookkeeping associated with things, and the ability to just get in situations where you're just plinking away at something, and you have bad matchups and stuff like that. I like that there's a focus on momentum there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention is that since it's strictly D6, one thing that I focus a lot is I've been in the situation where I'm playing with people who are new to RPGs or new to card games. I go to a lot of anime conventions, or the people I just interact with, they're interested in the hobby, but they're not quite fully ingratiated yet. And like one of the things for them is they will get confused at which one's the D8, the D10, or the D12. And when they look at it and they're trying to figure out which one to roll, which one is it, to me that always just gets on my nerves. I'm just like, I just want to just roll the dice. I just keep wanting to play it because like to me, I kind of view both things like on the same, and to a certain point, I just want to be like, hey, I don't care. Just pick up one of those dice and roll it. The numbers might be a little different. I don't care. That's just kind of like how I am personally, just because I like things to just like move forward. And so it's like an interesting dynamic though for me too, because I also love tactics. And what I mean by tactics is even though I love things to keep moving forward, normally when you think of something that's tactical is you think it being slower. But when I think of tactical, like my main thing when I say that is I want you to have a myriad of options, and it's not always the same. Like it's not really options if all players choose to do the same thing each turn. And I can't stand that either. So even though I want the game to have momentum and keep moving forward, I hate it if it's just like, okay, well, the only thing that makes sense for me to do logically is to attack. So I attack. And the next player says, well, I'm going to attack as well. The next player says, well, I'm just going to spam my fireball or whatever it is. It's like, I hate that so much. So when it comes to any game I make, I want there to always be multiple choices, and not done in a way to where it's like overwhelming, but just always know that there's multiple choices that you can choose from, because to me, that's what excites me. Because to me, it's not a game if there's not the choice element to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like dice pools a lot because I always feel like the problem with, in my mind, of saying, okay, we're not doing dice pools is that then you have to have either a really solid set of decisions for a certain die, like a D10 or a D8, or you have to start introducing a ton of different dice, just like you were saying. So I appreciate what you're going with there for sure.
Yeah, it was one of the things I really enjoyed about early White Wolf was all done with D10, and it was just success or fail on a threshold, and that made any sort of action randomosity very easy to get through in a session.
Yeah, and it's funny because I just sort of wound up choosing a D6 because I think that's just like what I had. Like a lot of this, like Otherworlds is the first game that I made, and like when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure all I had was D6s for a long time. And so when I was making my own board games and stuff, I always used D6s. So there was just something about it that just felt like
the most common type of dice out there.
Exactly. And there's just something I liked about that. But of course, I like every dice type. I mean, I've used them all in different RPG systems and stuff, and they're all fun and cool. But there's just something that, I don't know, the D6 kind of feels like the underdog. It kind of feels like, I don't know, there's just something charming about it to me that I appreciate.
Well, I think, like I said, you have nice established probability curves, and if you want to smooth them out, you just add another D6, and I don't know. I think it's kind of fun to roll multiple dice at the same time too. So maybe that's the war gamer in me talking.
I will say this: the first time I was ever introduced to a dice pool, going back to like the Yu-Gi-Oh thing that we were talking about, was when they did that little short. They did that arc for the Dungeon Dice Monsters.
Yeah, I have a full set.
I've been wanting to get a set for a long time because that was so interesting to me, more interesting than just the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. And I was like, man, this is going to blow up. It's going to be huge. And no, it was not. Like, I don't know if Konami just didn't want to push it, or there was just not genuine interest in the game itself. I know they had a short release time, but that was always one of the things that I was like, how interesting. You get like 6 dice every turn or whatever it is, and you get to decide how many you want to roll. There's negatives for rolling certain ones, there's positives, and just there's a little bit of a random element there while still having an element of control over what you're throwing down. I just always thought that was really...
it's a really cool concept, and they should revisit it. it had some kind of like wonky design decisions and like things that weren't quite balanced. But as far as like the general like unique idea that it had, was awesome. And fun fact, everyone, for my bachelor's party, we actually played Dungeon Dice Monsters. That was like a thing that I did. That was a part of it. That wasn't the full thing, but that was a part of my bachelor party, was playing Dungeon Dice Monsters. But I created my own custom Yu-Gi-Oh monsters to go with it, like like monsters from the show, but I created my own custom abilities and cards for it to make the game more fun,
That's cool, man. So you're just all in. You're just all in. Like anything that you can do to just make this experience. I mean, so what has been your experience just bringing all this stuff to people? I mean, like you said, you're constantly hitting the ground, boots on the ground, going to conventions, constantly talking with people about it. Like,
Well, finally, so I've hit some like random weird roadblocks. Like one is there's this thing where I'll be really good friends with like the convention owner. I'll get to know them. They'll like me a lot. They'll invite me back next year. They keep like upgrading my tables and making things better. But like as soon as it's about to get really good, they like drop for some reason. They quit the con. The con just goes under. They stop doing it. That's happened to me like 7 times in the last few years.
God.
Yeah, just 7 might be an exaggeration, but it's definitely happened multiple times. And I'm just like, man, like that's so rough because it's like it's like building an opportunity and it just all goes under. But luckily, the last couple of years, or I'll say maybe the last 3 years, I've definitely made good connections with people. Their conventions have only gotten bigger and better, with the exception of one. One did go under this year, but the other ones have gone really well. And now I'm getting people saying like, hey, like you're my favorite table at a convention, or hey, like we're actually for the first time getting people like buying things like just like off, like without even me pitching it to them. They just love what I do, that they'll see my stuff and then buy it. And we're also for the first time ever getting people wanting to buy original art, original characters over the fan art stuff that we're selling at the table. Because for a while, we started diving a bit into doing some fan art to sell at conventions because it would like make us some extra money that we then put back into the RPGs and stuff. And so it's like, hey, here's this cool picture of Naruto we drew, hey, thanks for the money. Now we're putting that into other worlds. But now we actually have people curious about like, or actually actively wanting to buy the original characters that they find in other worlds or in some of our other games, which is like a big mission that I'm doing this year. It's sort of developing out this universe and making it so you'll start seeing these characters pop up in these different games, and then you can start learning about them, piecing it through there.
That's, I mean, it sounds like you've had a lot of time to think about this and how you're going to piece it all together and what you're doing.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's crazy because even though I've been doing this for a while, there's a lot of moving parts that a lot of people that's been following me haven't seen yet. There's a lot that's like going on in the background, a lot when it comes to my perspective, and just like subtle changes I'm making that people will slowly see gravitating in a certain direction. But I think people will be really happy like where things develop from that.
Sweet.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I do want to bring up that I technically announced this, but I haven't gotten to do a full-blown announcement of it yet. But we have a new Kickstarter that's coming out called Death Send. It's like an RPG that's inspired by Death Note, the classic anime. And essentially in Death Send, you play as either an investigation team of the Baker Street Irregulars. Yeah, there you go. That is sort of like Sherlock Holmes's crew. You can play as part of the Yakuza or the Monastery. And someone mysteriously gets the powers of a Grim Reaper and is killing people. And so it's up to you to figure out who's doing that. Now, the catch of this RPG is it's actually played through texting on your phone. You can play through Discord, Gilded. You can play through Facebook Messenger, whatever it may be. And you can actually play throughout the course of a week. So it only takes about 10 minutes a day as a player to like send in your action and then see how that resolves. And the game changes based on how everyone's playing. And the catch is everyone's playing secretly. So you're not sure what the other players in the game are doing. And you're not sure of like when they're going to interact with you or if they trust you or if they're going to betray you. But there are teams in the game as well. So depending if you're playing with the investigation unit or if you're part of the monastery, you'll have team members that you can talk to throughout the day. You can exchange whatever information you want to with them, or you can choose to withhold information. And we actually had some people jump into our Discord from this game, and they've been saying that they played it and they've been loving it. So we've gotten some really good feedback on it.
That sounds like something that my Gilded would probably. I can see some people in the Gilded getting down on something like that, as to just interact and just have fun with each other.
Yeah, well, what's cool is it's very time friendly. We actually had someone scared to try it because they were in the middle of moving across states, and they ended up playing it anyways, and they had a blast, and they didn't have an issue at all playing it, even though they were moving across states. So we've had a lot of people that were busy be able to play and have a good time.
That's really cool, and way to go for thinking about how to incorporate the modern day technology in a tabletop RPG.
Definitely. I appreciate it. Yeah. So the idea for this one technically came from a game I released in 2019 called Legendaria. And in Legendaria, it uses the same system of playing through texting. So I actually came up with that a few years ago. But Legendaria is more of an epic battle where you play as different legends. So we had like Blackbeard teaming up with Billy the Kid during the Salem witch trials, and they were just causing destruction and destroying everything. And then we would have Hitokiri, who they based Rurouni Kenshin off of, try to stop them. And then you have these like epic showdowns between legends, and it's a lot more about that like sort of epic story you're telling in those epic battles. And we just sort of translated that game system into this one and made it more about the cat and mouse investigations instead of the epic battles.
Cool. So one of the things that this reminds me of is like the old Mafia or Secret Werewolf type games. One of the things that always was interesting about that was the social component of like sitting around and trying to guess which one of your friends. How do you bring that in, even though this is like done remotely? Or is that just kind of something like, is it all through text, or is there some like voice as well?
Yeah. So think of it like a tabletop RPG in the sense that you still have a game master. So the game master, yeah. So whenever you send in your actions, you're sending it to the game master. So say if I'm running the game and say all you guys are playing, you would basically be sending me your actions, and I would resolve the actions according to your character and what your stats are, because each character has different stats. You'll have different abilities, and you'll know what your stats and what your abilities are, what you're able to do. And there's also, let's see, here's the interesting part though. You can only choose to do one of 6 actions in the game. So it's not quite like a tabletop RPG where you can just say, hey, I'm going to like pick up the Kool-Aid randomly over there and chug it. Like it's not like there are like pre-programmed actions.
There's restrictions.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because I felt like if that wasn't the case, then if anyone had a game master that was at all biased, they could just say someone's idea is better than the other person and then side with them and have them beat you. And that wouldn't feel good as a player to know that you lost just because this person on a whim said that the other guy's idea is better than yours. So everything plays like 100% like a board game would in terms of like it's simulating the actual actions and like what's happening. But the role-playing elements come from the social interactions that people have, because when you jump into a chat with someone, a lot of people get into character, and you have the different personalities of your character, and you can choose to reveal what you want to reveal, what you don't reveal, things of that nature. So there are like RPG elements like infused into the game.
Are you cool with me playing one of these trailers that you have down here?
Sure, but you should play the one to the left, because the one on the right is just me ranting about it. The one on the left is actually a trailer that we just dropped.
Awesome. Well, let's check that out.
Hello. You must be surprised. My name is V, and I'm simply here to tell you that your reign of shadows has not gone unnoticed. Your power to control life and death has captured my attention. So, whoever you are, whatever you are, prepare yourself. A game is about to commence. A game of wits that will unveil the secrets that shroud you. I invite you to play your best, because I will solve this case. I will win, because that is justice. The game begins on Kickstarter. Death Send is a role-playing game played through sending text messages from your phone and can be played with players all over the world. The game uses a game master to arbitrate the game's rules and to guide players through the experience. The rules are simple and easy for anyone to play with players following one of 6 basic actions in the game. Rounds are played throughout the day, whenever it's convenient for the player, making this game optimal for people wanting to game on a busy schedule and for those wanting to game with others who can't meet at a table or online at the same time. More information can be found on our website at vindicatedentertainment.com and on our Kickstarter page. Many are after you, Death. You will be caught, but the question is, who will catch you first?
That was well done. Who did the voice work for you?
So I believe that was Mr. Bug who did it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. Are you familiar with him at all?
I am not familiar
Okay.
with him, but I
Okay.
might
Yeah.
have to become familiar. That was very
Yeah,
good voice
I think
work.
I think I've seen him in this chat before. So he's familiar. I'm pretty sure he's familiar with you guys. But he does some video edits, and I just saw that he was posting like, hey, like, is there anyone willing to like just like anyone looking for like some videos to edit and stuff? And so I just reached out to him, and so he's done a few of my video edits in there. I think
Awesome.
I think he does edits for Yellow Flash.
Oh, that's
okay,
cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah.
So, man, way to make that connection, dude. Like that was
Well, I just randomly saw it, and I mean he's been very professional working with him on it, so it's been cool.
That's awesome, man. No, that I'm okay. So I showed this off just before you got here because it was like this is really kind of how I was more introduced to you. Okay, Heartseeker.
Yeah, I will say, so I need to say this too. One thing that's weird about making so many different games is like I've noticed now that I've had such a big repertoire of games, it's like hard for me to figure out where to begin, what to talk about. And also everyone sort of like finds me differently and also is like interested in different things, which is like fun and exciting, but it's like a interesting new challenge I'm having to deal with. But yes, let's talk about Heartseeker. It's a fun one.
So no, and for me, the Heartseeker, because I believe that we ended up checking it out on a Wednesday night stream during the Wednesday night highlight show a while back, and I was giving James Craig a lot of crap, but the board game, the card game that allows you to make your to make or help or whatever your waifu fall in love with you. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so essentially, okay, so it's a weird. Okay, so a few years ago, my community recommended that we play this like dating sim puzzle game, and it was one of our most successful streams that we played. It was a fun time, and anytime I have a good time with a game, I think like, how would I make this into a card game or an RPG? Just as a fun exercise. It doesn't mean it will necessarily go anywhere. And so I basically made a fan-made version of that game, and I tried to pitch it to the creator of that game, and I never heard anything back. He may have just never seen the game or seen my pitch, but I didn't hear anything back. But my friends were like, dude, that game was actually really, really fun. Like you actually need to make that into a game. And basically I had like 6 or 7 of my friends pressuring me to make it to into a game. And honestly, I thought the game was surprisingly like a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. And so I just basically reskinned the fan-made version into what it currently is. And when I was thinking of like the characters and stuff, I was like, well, instead of me just making up all new characters for this game, why don't I just pull characters from my other games that I've made? So all the characters in Heartseeker, with the exception of one, is pulled from Spellslingers, Otherworlds, or some other game I've made. And then we're also making another anime-based card game next year called Truckhoon, which is about like running people over with a truck, isekaiing them into a different world. And that will also feature a lot of recurring characters that you've probably seen in Heartseeker or across other worlds and stuff. So you'll see them. And actually the art that I sent you that you used for this image where it has the girl with the alcohol. Yeah. That's actually art for Truckhoon that I haven't really revealed to anyone, but I just like threw it your way and was like, okay, well this would fit if you want to put this up there, but that's actually for an upcoming card game I haven't released.
Yeah, a girl holding a giant beer mug Doug. How does a drink with crazy not put that on a thumbnail?
Exactly.
What?
I was thinking, I was like, this one would fit. This would fit pretty well. But essentially, so in that game, everyone gets the same hand of 8 cards, and you're number. They're numbered 1 through 8. So your number 1 is your hero. Then you have like your maid, the tavern drinker, which that's the character there. You have like your wizard, your elf, the villain. Everyone has the same hand, and then you randomly generate the worlds by pulling up a subject and a location. So it could be little orange men running through World War II trenches. That's the world you get isekai to. Or you get isekai to a moon handcuffed to a furry, or whatever it may be. Yeah. Yeah. And you roll dice, and then the active player's turn, who has the truck icon, gets to determine which world is worth what amount of points. And then everyone chooses one of their cards from their hand worth a value of 1 through 8, puts it face down. And then everyone reveals. And then everyone activates their effects if they have any effects on their cards from highest number to lowest. And so some of the effects will get you. So the wizard, for example, changes any value of a world to a negative value. So if it would normally give you +6 points, it'll give you -6. And the objective of the game is to be the first player to get to 20 points. So the wizard can really screw you over. Yeah. And the 1, for example, is normally your worst card because it's the lowest number. However, the 1 gets to jump ahead if anyone else played the villain. So if you play the hero and someone else plays the villain to try to get the world, the hero beats the villain, gets to supersede him, and gets the first pick of the world. So you get the most amount of points.
That's interesting. Which one was that?
So I don't think I have it advertised on my website yet.
Say it's not out yet.
Yeah,
we're getting some inside baseball here.
Yeah, inside baseball.
Yeah,
I'm down. Oh no, people are interested. People are listening.
Yeah, we have only a few pieces of art for it. I still have to design the cards and the like rule book and stuff, but we've already play tested it at one convention, and we had resounding like amazing feedback. Like people were like, "Yep, go ahead. Like we gotta get this game out immediately." So we're working on an early release next year. Is when that's supposed to come out.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Very cool.
So how many games a year are you working on?
Oh, that's so this year my plan is to do 4 Kickstarters in total, and then a few like beta releases. So I guess like 4 games and like 2 beta launches, and then not counting some like merch drops and some like digital book stuff and some extra stuff. Like I can, yeah. So
that's very busy.
Holy crap. Richard, step the fuck up.
I know, right? Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, so I can make a game very fast and make it fun. I'm very good about that. It's always the last like 10% that's the hardest for me. You know,
I was just talking about this.
Yes, it's so difficult. And I don't know. It's a bit easier for card games. I feel like for RPGs, like I feel like for writing, like when you have like a book, like and there's a lot of writing involved, I do feel like that is tougher in a lot of ways, at least for me, than a card game. Because a card game, it's like, okay, well, this is the rules, this is the effect of each card, and then you're good. But with writing, it's like, well, should I add like a few more sentences? In a card game, that's not really the case, because you just add what the rules are and you add the effects and that's it. But with like a rule book and RPGs, it's like those do take me longer. And even though I'm able to release multiple games a year, I could not release multiple games on the size of Otherworlds in a year. Like Otherworld, I can't do another game like Otherworlds by myself ever again. Like I've already like that's the biggest I can do as a game by myself, because I basically gave up most of my 20s making that game, and I can't give up most of my 30s to like work on a single game like that again. So that is
that does make sense though. I mean, that's not, you know, you could probably add to Otherworlds at this point, but
and I can do like expansions and stuff a little bit here and there. But I'll put it this way: I think I've spent more time on Otherworlds than the other like 11 or 12 games I've made combined.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because with Otherworlds, I had written like 600 pages, and I got so confused of what I had already written. I was so like lost and everything. I had to scrape that entire 600-page book and then rewrite it. And I did that like 3 times. And then like, I don't know, it's been a lot of work. So yeah.
Well, but it does also sound like you don't just, I mean, you say 11 other games, but it doesn't sound like you're just releasing games to release games. You
No.
just got done saying, no, I had this card game, I did it, didn't like how it worked mechanically, scrapped it, restarted with the premise and took what I liked, and I reworked it like 10 times until, hey, I'm getting ready for release. So yeah, you've got 11 other games out there, but you're not just releasing them willy-nilly.
Yeah, so I share a lot of my design files, even for games I haven't released or maybe will never release, on Patreon. And I'd say for every game I released, there was probably 6 other games I designed before that one, and then probably like 6 expansions for other games I've already made that didn't get released either. So like what you're seeing is like the best of like 13 or something, you know, like you are seeing like the ones that worked. And granted, I do think that even the ones that didn't work out, I still think there's elements of fun to them and there's things I like. But normally what it is there's just something that doesn't quite feel right, and I'm just trying to revisit it at a later date. So like with Death's End, I made that game originally in 2018. We're actually about to hit the 5-year anniversary from when I released sort of like the beta for Death's End. But it had a different name, and it was way more like Death Note theme, but it was like free for everyone. And now that was Death's End is me sort of reskinning it with my own IP. But yeah, I kind of put that on the back burner for 5 years, and it wasn't ready until now. And that's the case for a lot of games.
Jeez.
So with that in mind, like, I guess one of the things I'm curious about is like, it looks like some of your projects have started to like crossover. Oh, God dang it.
Richard, we can still hear you.
I know. Hold on. Okay. Hello. Hi. Hello.
Hey!
Tails. There we go. Spooky. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this real quick.
Tail style.
Before the battery backup runs out on the router. Anyway, are we going to see more crossovers from you in the future? But
Yes.
with kind of like building your own character universe and everything else like that.
Yeah, so this one's been very interesting to me because it's something that no one necessarily asked for, but no one's complaining about it either. And I think it would be cool once it's like more realized and people kind of see what I'm doing with it. But you know, it's called the Vendiverse. It's sort of like this universe of my dedicated characters, and it's just sort of like a way to have an extra level of care and attention to these characters if people want that. But obviously, I think I have a pretty good job of being able to put myself in the mindset of different types of players, and there's definitely going to be people that could not care less. Like if they play Truck-kun or Heartseeker, they could care less about those characters at all. And to me, it's important that the game still function and is very fun without you having to know that at all. But I think there is something that's fun about it where, so the character on the cover of Heartseeker, for example, her name's Luna, and you might recognize her from Spellslingers. And it's like, oh, that's cool, that's neat. And then on her shirt, she has a little ghost, and they're drawn the exact same way as Guillotine from my other game. And it's just like neat nods, Easter eggs, things like that. But if you wanted to sort of learn more about her, there will be media through games and other forms where you can start learning more about that character. And I think I'm just sort of taking that inspiration from like as a kid, like playing the video games and getting into like Marvel vs. Capcom. That introduced me to a ton of characters. I had no idea who they were, where it was Strider Hiryu and Morgan from Darkstalkers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, who are these characters? Like their designs and their art like fascinated me, and I wanted to learn more about them. And so I was able to get more into them because I just thought they looked cool aesthetically. And I just want to sort of bring that into this like tabletop space because that's something that's not being done. Like even to the point where I brought this up in the largest board gaming group on Facebook, and they deleted my post because they said it was off topic. Like my post about it wasn't even allowed. So obviously I feel like I'm sort of coming at it in a little bit of a different angle. But again, it's not meant to detract from anyone's experience. I want people to still be able to love games and play games. A lot of times when I make my beta test for games, they have no artwork and people like can't see the characters anyways. So it's important to me that the game feels fun even on index cards when there's nothing to even look at. And when the game's really fun for people that way, that's a really good sign for me because once I add the artwork and everything else to it, I know people will have a good time with it.
Gotcha.
Good deal.
All right. Well, I appreciate you answering my question. To everybody, I'm going to go ahead and say good night. I think, unless I just need to flip the breaker again. But anyway, I will bid everyone a good night, and I will try and jump back on if I can. But yeah, adios, everyone from the darkness.
Appreciate it, Richard.
Don't
We'll
electrocute
talk again here
yourself.
before too long.
Okay. And Richard, hello, darkness, my friend.
All right.
Oh, thanks,
Good
man.
night,
Hopefully
everybody.
that power issues get
Good
fixed,
night.
dude. Have a good night.
Later,
No.
dude.
Later.
No, so for anybody who wants to all right, so you had shouted something out a while back called Banishment, based off of Yu-Gi-Oh. Looked really interesting to me. But instead of asking you, because I mean, everything about that game just looks wicked interesting. So definitely going to be looking into that a lot more. But I want to ask this question. What game do people start with? What is the quintessential Vindicated game that you say, all right, you want to have fun, you want to have fun with your friends, doesn't matter, you want to get into this, into what I'm doing, you want to get, you've never been to where I am, what's the quintessential Vindicated game that you say, this one here, this is the one that you do, it's fun, it's easy to learn, everybody can enjoy it, and it'll introduce you to the larger world that I've got going on?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, especially since I do have so many different games here. I would have to just give one little stipulation. I would say, hey, are you more into tabletop RPGs or card games? I would at least let them like diverge based off of that.
All right, so give me two answers then. That's even better.
Yeah, so if you say tabletop RPGs, especially if they're just like interested in giving it a try and stuff, I'm a big fan of Black Paper Moon. It's a game that I haven't talked about on here yet. We released it last year, the end of last year. And essentially, it's very rules light, very simple. You can make your character in 5 minutes or less. It ended up being more successful than I thought it was going to be. We've had like more online orders for that game than any other game that I've had. And yeah, it's just really it's basically like a spooky, whimsical setting. You basically take on the role of a hunter that's like training at this academy, and you're trying to like learn your weapons, your abilities, so you can fight against darkness, fight against evil, vanquish it, if you will. And you go in with a squad. You know, your friends, sort of inspired a bit from like Harry Potter or Soul Eater is one that people point out a lot, but that one's a little bit more under the radar where people might not know what that is. But it's just my wife and I, like, we love Halloween, spooky stuff, so it was cool to be able to tie that in and have a RPG that was kind of centered more around that. And speaking of games on the back burner, that was actually a game that was originally called A Bittersweet Trick or Treat and was originally designed in like 2015, 2016. So that was something that I sat on for a while until I did like a fully fleshed out release at the end of last year. And then as far as card games go, I think that Heartseeker honestly is like my best design, like not counting my Other Worlds TCG that's not out yet when it comes to things you can play. I actually think Heartseeker is the like most solid experience as far as like games that I have to play. I just think that there's actually a lot to it that's surprisingly fun, and I think it's just like more fun than what people would expect. And I think it's just there's not really things about it that bother me. Whereas like Spell Slingers I made in 2015, and so it's been 8 years since I designed it. And so there's like little things, and I've played it like 1,000 times. I showed it to so many people. There's like these little elements here and there. It's like, oh, I would have done this differently. I would have done this differently. And
so it was good at the time, but you kind of go back and you're just like, wow, I've learned a lot since then.
Yeah, I mean, I had the right idea about a lot of things. It was more about like templating and like honestly, a lot of my mistakes with Spell Slingers, I think, was just sort of like struggle to like communicate my ideas or like what the effect should do maybe, and like being more clear. But the base mechanics of the game I think are super solid, and I think people like Spell Slingers a lot because of that. Like, I think they can still see that on a mechanical level, the game's still really fun. So even though there's these sort of like weird edge cases, it's still a really fun game. And so I think it still holds up well in that way. And then Guillotine, it came out in 2021. So it came out, a decent bit later. I think we designed that, or I designed it in 2019. That one is also pretty solid, but that one I made pretty simple, so there's not as much like depth to it as I'd probably normally like. That one's very, very casual friendly though. It's the easiest one to play like with anyone that doesn't like. We have like 4 and 5 year olds playing it. Like we had some kids love it so much that they literally dressed up as characters from that card game that year.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny though is we had cosplayers cosplay those characters before any other characters, even though those guys weren't even named. It was just like Pumpkinhead and like Ghost and stuff. It was just random monsters. But they love the designs, and my wife actually did all the art for Guillotine. She did a fantastic job.
Very cool.
But Heartseeker, I think, has like a good amount of mechanical depth. It's still very easy to learn, very solid. It comes with instruction cards, so every player can get a card that helps them like refamiliarize themselves with the rules in case they forgot like certain elements about it. There's just like a lot of smarter design choices I made that I'm happy with.
Oh, dude, good for you, man. I love being able to meet, and like I said, this whole moniker of the Iron Age has introduced me to so many more creative people, because a lot of people get lost in, just the comic book world, or just the novel world, or just the animation world, or just the music world. And this Iron Age moniker opened up my eyes to see a bunch of different worlds. And then I decided to stumble drunkenly through all of them, which is probably not a good thing, but
accurate.
Hugely accurate. But I am
Flash.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, your internet crapped out there, Mike. That was hilarious.
It was just like, pew!
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything was lit up again.
Well, it wasn't lit up before. It's slowly getting darker in here, and I just looked up, and it's like, oh, my green screen's not even working.
Yeah.
That was funny. No.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't been vocalizing. I've been doing designs, and plus, Vincent's he's very interesting. So I'm just listening.
Good,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
You're good. So, Mike,
I was gonna say the one thing about your how you created a game that was a fan game, and then you made. That's how World of Warcraft came out. World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were pitching Warhammer, and then Warhammer was like, "Nah, we don't want to do that." So they're like, "Oh, we'll just do our own."
Like the
Cool.
they are.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's one of the things I will say, man, is you've got a lot of passion for what you're doing, and I think everybody can see it. I can see it.
Appreciate it.
I'm wanting to check out Banishment when it comes out, especially if it's something like play with the kids, or just play here at the house, or get some time to do more things like that. I have other projects I'm working on, not creative. Well, not that kind of creative, but
It's still creative.
I'm building a barbecue pit smoker. I came into some material.
A very large one.
Yeah, it's 120 gallon. It's going to be a 120 gallon pit, so it's going to be really good. I like one of the things that I really like doing, and obviously I'm not like the best cook in the world. I love, but I'm good enough that people enjoy the food, but I wouldn't put myself in like top tier. But I love, and I want to get better at it, and I love cooking for like large groups of people. That was actually a lot of the conversation we had before you came on. So that's one thing that I want to do to get better, because one of these days, man, I want to do like the Iron Age meetup. I want to do an Iron Age meet and greet, and I have this massive barbecuer, and we're gonna do briskets.
What you were talking about before I got here.
Yes.
That sounds like a wonderful time. Where are you based out of again?
I am currently in the very, very northeastern part of Iowa. So
okay.
Yeah, so nobody wants to go there. We should.
Yeah.
Actually, in the summertime is not bad. In the spring and summer is not bad.
Okay.
Wintertime is new.
I mean,
Yeah, then no.
San Diego.
No.
Absolutely not. Sorry, Mike.
No.
San Diego. People come here for vacations.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's the
goes to
commies go
wherever
there
you
for
live
vacation. The commies go there for
The commies go there for vacations.
No, I'm good.
No, I'm telling you, it's what you should do is you should set it up so that it's either parallel or before or after San Diego Comic-Con. So people who are already coming here for con will come to the Iron Age microcon or meetup or however you want to phrase it. So that boom, you hit two birds with one stone. And then people who aren't going to con, it's freaking San Diego. They'd come anyways.
I would not.
That's
I
why
wouldn't.
the
I'm
biggest
sorry.
convention in America is in San Diego because it's in San Diego.
I know, and that's the entire reason I won't go. I will not go to California. I have a fundamental disagreement with everything about that state. I will not go to California.
Choose South Carolina. South Carolina, it's affordable. We have we're one of the most moved to states. There's a lot of people coming over this way.
Yeah, so my church moved to South Carolina.
One of the places we talked about doing a meetup because of this, we kind of have an idea of where everybody's located in our group, especially through like my Gilded and stuff. We thought about Nashville. Pretty popular place, good food, good kind of good like bar scene down there, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of barcades down there as well.
A lot of white people.
Yeah, that's
I've been there.
Actually, yeah, there's also a lot of Mexicans there too, and a lot of really. I've been there recently, dude. There's a lot of them. You have to open up more than a squint. Oh shit!
Hey, that's racist.
Sorry, Mike.
I'm pretty sure.
No, but
Nashville's like 4 hours for me, so it's within driving distance.
We thought. I mean, I think it's 10.5 for me. I think it's like 11 from Daniel, and it's like 11.5 from Richard or something like that. Like it is. It's literally in the center of all of us, and that's the only reason we kind of tossed it out. And we're like, yeah, you know what? And like in the spring and summer, definitely not a bad place. I don't think, the good food and stuff like that, and just a way to. But I don't know. There's a lot of planning to do. I was just gonna invite like 40 people out to my house and just barbecue for people on the weekend.
It's like crazy humid in the summer in Tennessee.
That's what I said, like spring, the springtime. Because I was just down there recently. It wasn't bad. So, but that's for later.
What's
that's
really
for
nice.
What?
San Diego.
Communism. It smells like communism there. It
smells like,
and that's a stink that you can't wash off.
Yeah, but San Diego is a very conservative part of San Diego or California.
Never mind.
There's only, dude, it's just Los Angeles and San Francisco that skew this entire state to the left.
That's what I've heard, actually.
It's just like you freaking Illinois, dude. You don't sit there and say all of Illinois is Chicago.
Oh no, I get you there. So I think at this point I'm going to get to super chats. I am going to drop the Vindicated link, and especially you spoke of Heartseeker quite adoringly there. So we're going to drop the Heartseeker link, and then we're going to move over to super chats. And then I may wrap the show up a little bit earlier because my wife has been telling me that the neighbors wish I would go down the street and make an appearance. So I might do that. And then I might not go to work tomorrow. I might just apologize to my boss and be like, hey, yeah, it's fine. I'll just make it up on Monday. I'll make up the stuff I got to do tomorrow on Monday. It's fine. All righty. So, Vincent, man, feel free to chime in on any of the super chats or have fun with it. There is a rather large super chat here from a rather inconspicuous person, and I have a feeling that I know what it's for because it's usually for that. But let's get over here to the super chats, and if anybody has any questions now, definitely pop them down in the chat over on YouTube or over on Rumble, and I will get those. So over here on Rumble, Edward, also known as Kikoman, for $5 says, did anyone here heard of Senator Armstrong? Don't be gay and look it up. No, not looking it up. Oh my god.
He's from Metal Gear Rising.
Oh, Okay, yeah. Okay. I never got into the Metal Gear stuff, not because I wasn't into Metal Gear, but because I literally dipped out of playing any sort of video games for like a decade of my life.
Hey, don't feel bad. I never did either.
Right, there you go. Dicebag has some interesting, and Dicebag, I did see that you subscribed to me over on Rumble. Thank you for doing that. But he made a comment here. It's not a super chat, but I find this interesting. He says TCGs are all going digital now. I feel that. I've noticed that with Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm starting to see it more with other games. Do you feel the same way? Are you seeing that TCGs are going that way?
So yes and no. Yes, they are, but it's not taking into consideration that there's a lot of people that's playing TCGs, and a lot more people have access to playing them because there are more options to play online. But there are still people that care about playing it physically. There's even a TCG called Flesh and Blood that's been getting more and more popular each and every year. And that one is called Flesh and Blood because its first and foremost principle is playing in person in your flesh and blood. And so they do a lot of support for their local game stores. Really cool. Yeah. And so they're trying to sort of like take apart a bit of Magic the Gathering's piece of the pie there. Unfortunately for me, I haven't personally like loved what I played of Flesh and Blood from like a game perspective, but a lot of people do. A lot of people love it, and it's been taking off. It's been out for like 5 years or something. It's been doing really well. And anytime that there are people that are doing more online or becoming less social or not connecting as much, there's also a deeper need for people to connect. There is a deeper need for people to gather around the table and play. So I don't think that will ever go away, because even as the other end gets more popular, I think it will actually bring people to like wanting and longing to like, get around the table and play games physically as well.
I can see that for sure. I can absolutely see that. No,
Trippy Soul, I would suggest maybe going to Pacific Beach instead.
Skunk's Workshop became a monthly supporter over on Rumble. I believe that's my first monthly supporter over on Rumble. So yeah, we're gonna get the applause button for that one. Thank you so much, Skunks. That's awesome, man. Thank you. I didn't know that Rumble had rolled out that yet. Wow. That's
hey, happy
really
surprise.
Cool. Yeah, very happy surprise there. No, I'm always glad to see the Rumble stuff roll out, especially because I say the things like I'm going to get nuked on YouTube one of these days. My Sunday coffees, I share political things that I probably shouldn't. So one of these days I'm going to get nuked. So I'm always really, really glad to see Rumble growing. We had 200 followers over there too, as well. So that just happened recently. So very, very nice surprise.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Wrangler for $4.20. It says hot dog soaked in soy sauce. No, sir. No, absolutely not. That was his barbecue thing. No.
Yes.
I have made a lot of people mad. I've made a lot of people mad that I don't like soy sauce. I don't. It's not.
Philistine.
It's not a thing. I like hot sauce. Hot sauce is good.
Well, what are you putting soy sauce on?
Everything. These people are nuts.
I like it on my teriyaki chicken and rice.
Depends on what you
all of it.
Right, do not ever put soy sauce on your rice, please. It's an affront to my nature.
I don't. I'm not a fan of soy sauce.
They'll kick you out of Japan if you do that.
Oh God.
Too bad.
Unless you're cooking with it, making fried rice, you can put it in there. But
as a seasoning, like in stuff to help bring to help salt like sauces and things like that, I think it's good for that. But just like the sauce itself on food, no.
Literally what it's for.
Yeah, like literally, what are you talking about?
So literally what everybody does at every freaking restaurant, Japanese, they grab the soy sauce bottle and they shake it all over their food. That's gross. If you actually have something cooking in the back and you throw some in there as an additional seasoning, like you would do like, cayenne or something like that.
Like sushi or, certain dishes you're going to just dip it in.
See, that's how I need my barbecue sauce. I need whatever I eat with barbecue. I like it to be cooked with it. I don't like to dip my stuff in barbecue sauce.
Yeah. So Royce, you don't eat sushi?
No, I like sushi. Sushi's fantastic.
You don't
Soy
use
sauce
soy
is
sauce.
disgusting.
You don't use soy sauce with your sushi.
No, I put wasabi on it.
You do you, man.
I will. It's delicious.
I mean, he's not wrong, but
It's not wrong. No, I
every
don't
once in a while, bit of soy sauce with your sushi is good, but predominantly I'm a wasabi guy too.
Yeah, well, you put the wasabi in the soy sauce.
No.
Don't
Just
do
leave
that.
the soy sauce off the table. It's perfectly fine in the trash where it belongs.
No.
I need to fix something real quick.
Fix something. JVP Music for $10 says Vin is one of the first people I started talking to when the Iron Age was born. Great dude, and I'm looking forward to his work, especially his next release.
Thank you. I love JVP. He was super awesome when I first reached out to him, and he's been just nothing but awesome the entire time.
Yep, JVP is the man.
Oh yeah.
No, he's a hardworking dude, man. I love the hell out of JVP. He's absolutely
JVP and Richard were like the first two I talked to, and they both did a really good job of like being very accepting and just being awesome. And because I you know, I was kind of like, hey, I got these card games and RPGs. Is that okay? And it's like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like, we're cool with you. We like you.
Do
Okay,
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a creative movement for creators. What a concept. like, are you creating stuff? I think, like I've said to people before, my barrier to entry is like, if you're doing like stuff that's overly, if you're doing stuff that gets into like the preachy political, like I'm not going to have you right or left, like anything along the borders of like the woke stuff. No. If there's something satirical, satire is very different. You can do political stuff that's satire, but again, satire is its own beast. Mike, and I won't say anything here, but I did see a project that Mike was working on a while back. It went live on Fund My Comic just recently. Something that you had shared with me privately a while back. But I don't know. Anyway, it was funny. It was satire. It was a good time. But yeah.
Magnificent Seven was wonderful.
Huh?
Magnificent Seven. That was a comic I did before.
Yes, maybe.
That
Anyway,
was
the
a
Ultimate
great.
Kahuna.
Fantastic. It was fantastic. You should check that. Never mind.
The Ultimate Kahuna for $4.99 says, "My job is to sell you, Royce. We don't sell people anymore. Man, get with the times."
Fair point.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong. The Ultimate Kahuna for $1.99 says, "Royce, modern gay confirmed." No.
No, he's classic gay.
Right, 90s gay. 90s gay, as we say here on.
I mean, technically, he did pay you, so you have to acknowledge it. Those are your rules.
No. Yeah, I have to read it. I don't have to acknowledge it. And then Kikomon over on Rumble for $100. I always know when it's time to play the video because these super chats roll in.
Yep.
All right, Kikomon
I've seen the
says,
video.
"Start a poll. Which U.S. president would you prefer? Trump, DeSantis, Biden, Newsom, or the ultimate Armstrong?" Video 5 minutes below. Play the video. Wait, do you want me to play the Kikomon video or this? All right, he sent me a link.
I believe he wants you to play whatever insane video he has sent you.
Hey, Ravensloft.
Who is this? Stranding Reaper.
Yeah.
What in the world? Kikomon, what did you send? This is not the Kikomon song. I am also afraid, but I am also afraid. Oh God.
Fear the Kikomon.
I don't know what's happening. I usually know what's happening, and I don't know what's happening right now. Usually it's the Kikomon song, but
Nice.
What in the Kentucky Fried fuck am I watching?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I know that I know this is a Metal Gear game, but
This is also kind of one of the different ones though, because you're playing you're playing that guy instead of the typical character you're playing. Yeah.
Instead of Solid Snake, yeah. Are we just watching cutscenes from the game, Kikomon? Oh, I think he's trying to educate us on who this guy is.
Typical politician.
Horrible dialogue.
Yeah, that's Metal Gear. Metal Gear is this
I'm
way.
also
That is
pretty sure this game was written like back and forth between the Japanese studio and the American studio, so it has a different sort of like tone than some of their other games.
Yeah. His voice is terrible.
You're just another maggot crawling in the pile.
He sounds a bit different than what you would expect, I think.
Yeah. Well, doesn't he have his like Jack the Ripper mode too? Like it's like his berserk mode.
I do need capital.
Maybe.
People are saying people are taking this.
I have a dream. What? That one day every person in this nation will control their own destiny. A land of the truly free, damn it. A nation of action, not words ruled by strength, not committee. Where the law changes to suit the individual, not the other way around.
So many contradictions in that guy.
Where they belong. In the hands of the
How long is this video?
Are we watching wrestling?
Every man is free to think, to act for himself.
This guy's taking on a cyborg though, so I mean, some props
Well,
to
he
him.
is also on some serious roids.
He's got like some Hulk roids going on.
Yeah, it's not like this is a really long cutscene for a game.
Fuck the media. Fuck all of it.
And fuck your couch too.
Interesting.
Rotten to the core.
Interesting.
We need to pull it out by the roots. Wipe the slate clean. Burn it down.
What in the world?
And from the ashes, a new America will be born. Evolved, but unchanged. The weak will be purged. And the strongest will thrive. Free to live as they see fit. They'll make America great again.
Oh wow.
What the hell are you talking about?
This predated Trump too, if I'm not mistaken.
It did, yeah.
That's hilarious.
I listened to an interview with one of the writers for this game. They actually asked him like how do you feel like predating that? And he was like, it was crazy. But yeah, so I had a feeling that was coming up.
Interesting.
America, people will die and kill for what they believe. Not for money, not for oil, not for what they're told is right. Every man
Interesting.
will be free to fight his own wars.
It's like One Punch Man's sidekick.
Right?
100
Yeah.
Hitman. I think one reason why this game is popular is the soundtrack is really good. Like a lot of people love the soundtrack of this game.
What do you think?
I thought it was pretty unpopular when it came out, and that mostly because you weren't playing as Snake. Interesting. Kikomon, you threw me off. I wasn't prepared for that. I was not prepared for that, Kikomon. You're not allowed to do that anymore. It's very strange. Also, probably gonna get a copyright strike. Oh well, who cares about copyright strikes? The Ultimate Kahuna for $4.99 is question for Mike. How much does someone with your level of quality typically charge for an interior sketch art for a book? Just ballpark.
You mean like in a sketchbook?
Charge for interior sketch art for a book. I'll put it up on screens. Maybe you can.
Kahuna just answer in the chat. You mean like in a sketchbook? If you brought a sketchbook to a convention, how much would I charge for that? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it might be. I'm unsure.
Well, if that's the case, I think I started headshots off at 100, and then it goes up to full body shots for 400.
Oh wow!
And then an additional 50% for each additional character. So if it's 2 characters, it's 600. 3 characters, 800.
Dang,
Sounds about right.
that's nuts.
Hey man, it's 30 years of practice.
I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
wrong. I said
awesome.
it's nuts. Didn't say it was wrong. Well, gentlemen and chats, we have reached the point of the show where it is time for the final shill. And either Daniel has to do 2 shills or I have to do a shill for Richard. But there is a shill here for a man who is not here. And that's weird.
Yeah, the only thing that he really, really wanted us to hit was the voting for last month is up as far as the Iron Age media story prompts are concerned.
Oh.
So if you haven't put your vote in for your favorite story, hop on ironage.media and vote. I believe Bryce is linking it.
Yes.
Because I don't do that. I just sit here, talk, and drink.
I am
Oh,
aware.
hold on, Kahuna is clarifying. You mean the interior art for a book? It depends on the project, but I wouldn't take less than $500 a page for pencils and inks. And it depends on how busy I am. If I'm busier, then I wouldn't even take that. So.
Well, time is valuable.
Yep.
For sure.
So,
there's only one of me.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah, even now for me, like there's certain, like I'm at a point where it's like I cannot take on anymore. It's like, please, no one asked me to do anything else for a little bit. I have to sort of like get some of this stuff done because I know you guys are like, yeah, you're doing a lot, and I am, but it's like I'm at my I think I'm at my current limit at the moment.
Yeah.
Understandable. We all get there.
Yeah.
And when NFT season kicks in, if I start getting NFT property again, then I wouldn't touch comics with a 10-foot pole. It pays magnitudes more than comic books. So, yeah, I could do what I'd make on a. How long would it take me to make that much money? Probably 5 months worth of work I could do in like 2 weeks in NFTs.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's why I love NFTs.
Well, all right. That being said, Mr. Vincent Baker, what is your final show for the evening? Who are you? Where can people find you?
All right.
All those.
All right, so I want to sort of direct to a surprising twist, everyone. I'm going to not shill myself as much. Of course, my name is Vincent Baker, Vindicate Entertainment. You can check that out. But I want to take this time to promote my dad's game that he's putting on Kickstarter. He's making his first card game that he's ever put together. He's made it with some other members of my family, and it's something that they're all doing. I had no part in designing it, but I've sort of like consulted sort of like the wording and the writing and making sure that the Kickstarter elements and stuff are put together. But he actually just launched the like notification link for Kickstarter. I'll send it as private chat, so hopefully you can share it to the public.
I will absolutely share that.
But I just want to do that for my dad because if it was not for him, I wouldn't be here today, of course. And also I wouldn't be near the man I am today if it wasn't for him. So I love you, Dad. Thank you so much. And hopefully his game does well. So I wish him all the best with it.
I got the link down in both chats.
Me too.
Yeah, it's and just a quick rundown on it. It's kind of like a medieval fantasy dueling card game. It's 1v1. So all you need is the 2 players to have your optimal experience for it. It's very simple. All you need is the 1 deck of cards, comes with everything you need. It has sort of like these 4 different factions that's at war, and you wield them, and you get different spells that you get to use to change up the way the game plays. So definitely check it out. It's a quick, easy card game, but yeah, I'm just super proud of my dad for being able to put that together. So
Sounds awesome.
Awesome. Mike,
you're muted.
Mike, you're muted.
I said if we're bragging about family, I want to show the commercial for my son's game.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Good.
I like family shills. Family shills are awesome.
Now,
best
granted,
thing
you
to
can't
for.
technically buy this game right now. Although I think he has some copies left.
Tired of peaceful game nights? Is having fun with friends and family getting boring? Well, spice it up with wildfires, earthquakes, and/or zombie apocalypses in the new game, Masters of Mayhem. Masters of Mayhem is a tile-laying game in which your goal is to completely decimate your friends. How do you do that, you may ask? The answer is really quite simple. By causing destruction with natural and unnatural disasters alike. Here's how you play the game. Every player gets 3 destruction cards and 1 city tile. Everyone puts down their tiles adjacent to each other and places 5,000 people on their own cities. Then every player rolls to see who gets to go first. Jimmy gets to go first. Jimmy can either play a card or skip his turn. Look, Jimmy's chose to curse his best friend with a plague. Once everyone has had a turn, a new round begins. Every populated city increases by 1,000 people, and every player gets a tile and a card. Once all this is done, a new round begins. This continues until everyone is dead, but one color, and there is one Master of Mayhem. Abduct your friends, start civil wars. It's chaos for the whole family. Say goodbye to board games that take hours to play and get Masters of Mayhem. You can support this game by purchasing a copy for $60. Or if you want to help develop it, you can become a beta tester and get unique cards that won't be in the game for only $140. Start the apocalypse today. Masters of Mayhem is not responsible for any mass genocides, racist behavior, alien invasions, global pandemics, radical uprisings, mass evacuations, firstborn deaths, and/or limbs lost during gameplay.
That's hilarious. Well done.
It's a really fun game. We play it quite often.
Beautiful.
It also looked like there was D6s involved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My
I
kind of game.
A game I created called Pangea, and yeah, we do that. It's a similar. It's a not tile laying, but like I don't want to go into my whole thing. We use
Mike,
D6.
do you have something to shill that you would like to shill? Or
I haven't. It's a game I made. Like I made all the pieces and I made all the cards, and we used to play it, but I haven't produced it.
Well, that's rude.
No, someday I hope to either produce it physically or digitally. So
I want to be able to play. I want to figure out a fun game that all of us, whether it be cards or whatever, something like that, that all of us could sit here and play together on stream. It'd be great.
Heartseeker. Heartseeker.
Huh? Heartseeker?
I have, yeah, one of my community members actually made it on Tabletop Simulator. We can play it. It's there.
Maybe we got to do that. Maybe we got to do that. All right. Mr. Daniel P. Riley, what's your shill?
My shill is there's 1 week left on the virtual book signing for G 2. You can get both 1 and 2 signed by me, a pretty awesome t-shirt, as I am wearing today, or have it done in a poster if you so desire. 7 days left on that. I'm not planning on extending it. It was just a short celebration for the release of G 2. And that's it. Once it's done, it's done. Those particular t-shirts will not be sold in that format. They are exclusively for people that got in on the book signing. So if that's an incentive, get on Fund My Comic while you can.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Vincent,
you can find me on Twitter at Mr. DP Riley.
Vincent, touch base with the guys from Fund My Comic. Unless you already have. Talk
Cool.
with them, but just
Oh,
reach out to them on Twitter.
something that Daniel and I were talking about in a previous episode regarding samurai swords. The art of fighting with the actual samurai sword is called kenjutsu, not kendo. Kendo is with the bamboo sticks.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that being said,
You
that
wanna
being
correct-
said, modern
correct.
steel beats up old steel. That's how it is. That's where we're at. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of the show. Look at that. Oh my
Don't drink
God.
soy sauce, Royce.
Royce has to try and get the last word in, but he never does.
No, it's true. I don't. It's fantastic. Hey, ladies and
At the
gentlemen,
meetup, I'm gonna pour
thank you on
soy
a
sauce
Friday.
in your beer.
What?
I said at the meetup, I'm gonna pour soy sauce in your beer.
Please don't. That would be gross. If there is, I will say this: if somebody,
do it.
if there is a soy sauce based beer, and somebody brought it to me at a meetup, I would humbly drink it, just to see, and because somebody handed me a beer, and I'm not going to be rude. I
You
would
know
do
it's gonna happen now, so you just set yourself
If
up
you
for
guys would
failure.
ever decide on a freaking meetup, we could do this.
So you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. It'll
Chat,
be
they're
really
against
easy
you.
to roofie Royce because he'll drink anything you have.
No, that is not a thing. Also, if I travel, I will not travel unless my wife is there.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
yeah.
she'll kick anybody's ass that tries to drug
She
it.
carries a lot of knives. What is up with? I don't even know. Oh man.
Good
Good night, everyone. Thanks for having me.
What's up?
So good night, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, thank you for being here. I hope you come back, and I look forward to seeing your future creations. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Banishment, man. That one, I know we didn't touch base on that, but I'm gonna sink my teeth into that one. We'll see where we go.
Yeah,
So,
we've got plenty to talk about for sure.
Oh, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for tuning into Iron Age Nights, and we will see you all next time. Cheers, everybody.
Good night, everybody.